Do you know what, ladies and gents, we've not even started yet today, and today's going to be an interesting one already, I feel. Guys, welcome on into 6 out of 10 podcast. As per usual, my name is Tiny Pixels, you guys can call me Pip. And I am joined, as always, by lovely co-host and wonderful, well, alright, human being, Squall Muzza. How you doing, sweetheart?
Oh, he's going for the low blows this week. Jesus Christ. Well, it'll fucking do, I suppose.
Every week I say nice things about Sam, and you know what I get? Oh, yeah, but it's not really, oh, you shouldn't really be lying to, oh. Every time, without fail, I get that. The one week I'm not nice.
God.
Alright.
I'm not putting up with this abuse.
Does that mean I should praise our guest this week? Do I need to... if we're not doing the mean thing this week, shall I cut it out and be nice? But I feel like I should be nice, because we're joined once again by the wonderful, absolutely lovely Call of Cthulhu. How you doing, Adam? How you doing, sweet pea?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you alright? Good.
I like the way that I get a decent quantity of praise, a generous, perhaps overt amount of praise, and your co-host, whom one would assume is at best like equal second most important person on the cast. It's like, yeah, he's turned up. I mean, we're happy that he's arrived. Whatever.
Every week. I wish I could make this more clear. Every single week, I am nice beyond to Sam. I introduce Sam in a really pleasant, friendly manner, and every week I am accused of lying to our audience. Every week, without fail. So do you know what? I decided this week it'd be a little bit mean, and now I'm being told off for it.
I mean, give it a bit of 04 tuna, right? Bum, bum, bum.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a bit of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then really hit him with "and now," and then you hit his name, and then you remember his Twitch name isn't the same as his Twitch name, and it all gets confused.
Yeah?
Something
I like
that.
turning up in your chat, Adam, because...
It's the fuck of shouting you out on my channel, by the way.
Because nobody can spell Senshudo after they're told.
And
nobody knows that that's who they're meant to be showing out.
Twitch name. Yeah, can I have a shout out for School Muzza, please? Carice, no, she's right there. Going, yeah. I'm sick of trying to do a follow for him as well. School Muzza, that's not the right name.
Literally every time in your channel, it ends up being somewhere in the realms of what I just put in chat. They're it's sweet that you try. It's very touching.
Senshudo. Well, also, didn't it used to be Senshudo TV?
Yes.
It did, yes.
It did, yes.
Which, once again, and for everybody on all the Twitch, I just want to say, because at least once we'd learned it was Senshudo TV, then like a cunt.
Well, the TV part's kind of extraneous, though, isn't it? Like, there's no... Obviously, it's some kind of, broadcast, otherwise it wouldn't be here in the first place.
What you're saying is...
We do podcasts too?
You removed the TV part because that was superfluous.
Yeah.
You have a Twitch name that doesn't match the name that you actually stream on.
Well, yeah, but I was already far too well known on my normal name. That was the problem.
Dear.
So I just
Right.
continued to use them because why
The
not?
real question I have then is why don't you either
Oh, here we go.
stream as School Muzza on the Senshudo network?
But then I don't have a nice partner badge, and I'd actually have to do hard work and earn one, and that just sounds like far too much effort.
It's not.
There's achievements now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Buy a ticket to TwitchCon is one of them. That's mercenary.
Job done.
It's not, is it?
Yeah, enjoy the achievement bags and the sheer crassness of buy a ticket to TwitchCon as an achievement.
It's fine by me.
Right, that aside, just for a second, let's drag it back just for a second, because we know who you are. I'm going to ignore the comment about my native language in chat right now, Englander. I'm coming for you. But let's have a chat about who you are and what it is you do, Adam. Just in case these guys don't know you or your channel or what it is that you're all about.
My name is Call of Cthulhu. I stream horror games on twitch.tv /Call of Cthulhu. I am
yes.
the most interesting person any of you have ever met.
I mean, it's not wrong.
I can go on.
Yep.
I am a good 6 feet tall. Thanks for the laugh. That doesn't hurt at all. That feels really good. Hold on a second. Yeah, I can actually feel the scars opening up again.
Alright, Mr. 6 feet tall. Alright.
Thank you, yes, 6 feet, correct.
It is always good to have this background. It's always a pleasure to have somebody who can actually speak to come and chat to us. That's always nice.
I mean, if you're going to continually get guests on that are like mute, you've made your own mistakes.
That's where we can
help
wrong.
you.
Oh, that was our problem the entire
20 episodes in, and now we've realised.
Don't get mutes onto a primarily talking-based show. It's not complicated.
Well, the mind contest is going to suffer.
Don't get the blind into a, tell the difference by touch contest.
So there's been some game news this week.
You remember when I said, hey guys, this one's going to be an interesting one this week. I always love chatting to Adam, but there's always this part of me that endlessly regrets it the second he starts to show off, and he's already 6 foot tall. By the end of the podcast he'll be 8.5, I imagine. Oh my god, and he's more of a child than I am.
God, I'm so glad that actually made a sound when it hit my desk. That would be such a redundant gesture otherwise. What did you do? Did you just flap at the screen? Is that what people do when frustrated?
Oh god alive. Yeah, that. So there has been gaming news this week.
I've seen up with the gaming news.
What?
I'm done. Goodbye. No,
There were some game awards, and people gave out awards. Let's talk about the awards.
There were game awards. That's all enthused about how much we love award ceremonies and giving out awards. It's a really great time to watch our award ceremony that's going to be happening in like X amount of weeks' time, where we talk about the best games of the year.
Yeah.
You mean the 4-hour advert where Jeff Keighley bent over and sucked himself off while arcading?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That one in particular.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I spent 4 hours during the middle of the fucking night watching that.
Yep. So this is the
Time
Game
well spent.
Awards, and it was. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of awards anyway. I'm not a huge fan of this. I love celebrating games. I love celebrating the guys behind them for sure. But these are all arbitrary nonsense, aren't they? Genuinely.
Lena Jurgens didn't deserve best performance.
I would have preferred that was all done outside of a weird setting where somebody screamed "fuck the Oscars" and a fetus was stuffed inside of Norman.
I would actually
had a
think
stroke.
any time when Norman Reedus gets a fetus stuffed inside him, that is worth a watch.
I wish that had been done in a separate setting, and I wish we had a better, more grown-up setting to actually talk about these things like they're art, rather than embarrassing ourselves.
The hero we deserve, not the hero we want.
Yeah. Well, I mean
We've come too far for this nonsense. Surely, we've come too far for this nonsense now. I just.
I mean, at least.
There weren't any awards that happened on the Game Awards that were unjustified. Nobody won things that shouldn't have won. There was a decent spread. There was no award that we were like, oh, come on. Why has this won the award? How much money did they have to pay to get Destiny in here? Okay? That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, the entire award show was pretty much the awards you'd expect it to go to. I liked particularly the skipping over of categories like score, soundtrack, RPG, because RPGs aren't a fucking category.
Nope.
Why would we want to know who was nominated in that? Just tell us it was Persona so we can fuck off and watch 5 more ads.
Yeah. I'm fully on board with that. I mean, why point out the obvious?
The funny thing about this image on the screen is that you can't actually tell that Jeff Keighley has had a rib and a half removed from this side so he can bend over and reach his own penis. So he's really covering that up quite well.
Well, I think that's why the video cuts off where it does, is because for that period of time he has got someone else to service him.
In all honesty, this performance category is laughably unfair on everybody that's not Melina Juergens.
Yes.
Because all the rest of them are just VOing.
Whereas, and if you consider the role, like that was a real challenge that she took on, right? And everything else is, hey, be a heroine off, like, you pop.
Action heroes, yeah.
Hey, you get weapons, go. Rather than, hey, see, being tormented and half the time you're not you. It really was it was in a kind of different world altogether, wasn't it?
It's still the funniest thing about it is, like, for everybody else in that category, it's like, fuck you. She is a video editor. I hope you feel like your career choices are worth nothing now.
But, like, you've got alongside Wolfenstein 2 for BJ, and it literally, the man just sort of goes, I'll walk over there and my leg hurts. And that's it.
But in her speech, she actually, I think she meant it a different way. She said something like, "This is my first ever acting gig, so I'm so proud and grateful." And I was just sitting there thinking, "Oh God, I hope that really stings, Ashley Birch. I hope that one burns inside. That this is like her first ever acting gig, and you're a career professional at this, aren't you? This must hurt a little bit." Andy Serkis is there, though.
Was she just sedately just doing that just off camera? Do you think?
Yeah. No, actually, had her fingernails dug deep into one thigh, so to reach over and haul off and just belt the person sitting next to her. Keep a fixed, glassy smile in place.
Shuffle, Alan. Yeah.
No, I mean, there's a couple in here that I would disagree with. There's a couple of nominations that I'd certainly disagree with, because PUBG still isn't finished. You can't win Game of the Year if you're not fucking finished. Otherwise, you win Game of the Year every year.
It didn't win Game of the Year.
No, but it was nominated for it. It was in the shortlist.
Yeah, but nobody ever thought it was going to be out Nintendo. There were 95 Nintendo ads before Breath of the Wild won all the awards that mattered. We knew they were going to win.
I know, but still, also the
having paid
Nintendo
for the show, they were definitely winning.
Nintendo put the wrong game in that category. Just saying, the wrong one won there. Again, how Resi 7 didn't come away with something, I have no idea.
Game.
Yeah, one VR, which is kind of the runner-up.
Yeah, no, which is an empty fucking category.
Yeah, it's a nothing category, but that's what it won. The only other thing 7 was nominated in was Best Game, and how it was ever going to beat off Breath of the Wild.
Best Sound Design.
Odyssey. Yeah, but, like, Hellblade deserved that award.
No, I understand Hellblade deserved that, but it should have been in more than that.
That was Hellblade's legitimate only, like, category that you could say without question they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Performance has only been changed in the last couple of years anyway.
Oh my life! I just
Impact Award. Shut up.
Don't best ongoing game. If there was ever an award that went, hey, let's celebrate predatory practices in the industry, we have best ongoing game. For Overwatch, for Destiny, for GTA, for Warframe, for Six Siege, and for PUBG.
But surely, right, the Impact Award is just award for most Twitter retweets?
No, don't be silly. Don't be silly. That entire game, I know you're setting me up to shout at you, and I understand that. I'm still gonna bite. Don't care.
All right. This is gonna be super easy then. No worries.
Right? No, it was important, I think, that was brought to the table. The whole work behind Hellblade was amazing. I don't ever recall anything like it.
What, Hellblade?
Yeah.
At Dragon Cancer last year?
I'm looking more towards a studio actively going, hey, we don't really know enough about this. Let's enlist the people who do.
Oh, in that case, Overwatch? They don't know much about it, so they went to the Team Fortress 2 people and they showed them how to make a competent shooter and they coloured it Blizzard and they were done.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. But in the same breath, you're seriously wrong because you understand what I'm saying. You're just choosing to upset me. As you always do. Like, that's normal now.
Yeah, Hellblade, I mean, without question, it was a brave choice of game. If only they could have followed up the incredible bravery and the bombast of the storyline with some gameplay, it might have been Game of the Year.
But that makes it less accessible.
What? Making the puzzles like 4-year-old level competency, and it Batman.
I struggled with 2 of those in the fire bit. Don't you give me 4-year-old.
You didn't.
I did. I got set on fire quite a few times where I went, I ain't just run through this. I'm a heroine of this story. Just run through this. While I agree, I think that they obviously put so much work into making it this beautiful narrative that it just wasn't.
Oh, without question, it would have been Game of the Year with some actual gameplay.
Yes.
Without question. The game itself is like a 6 out of 10, which is apparently not bad, right? The game itself is a 6 out of 10.
When people do that, I need like a little buzzer.
Just the MLG horns.
Yeah.
No, it's a reasonable game because the gameplay is so terrible. But if the gameplay had been good, it would have been a 9 out of 10 game, easy.
But the narrative allows it that impact
Absolutely.
award, and the work that went into it allows it that impact award.
Well, not least of which because nobody else really tried for the impact award this year.
But maybe
I mean, what were the others in there?
We can only
Life
hope
is
that this
Strange.
opened doors. Oh God, Life is Strange.
Like, I love Life is Strange. It had all the
else was
impact of a wet fart. Like, there's no way. Like, it's just a big hipster experience.
Actually, Night in the Woods was on that list. And that's almost there. It's not quite there, but I can understand that's almost there.
Night in the Woods was never going to win versus the Philadelphia of the Oscars that was Hellblade.
No, but we're talking about nobody else in that category really tried. I disagree.
Well,
with
they
you.
weren't trying to make an impact. Like Hellblade.
Night in the Woods, I feel
were.
was. Night in the Wolves? Oh my life, what is wrong with me today? Sleep, please.
You want to call next or?
Night in the Woods actually did try. It tried to convey a very serious message, and it tried to deal with a huge range of issues, perhaps too many.
It wasn't What Remains of Edith Finch in that category for good reason as well. I've not played it yet, but I've heard that it's very in that space.
Yeah, sort of.
The thing of it is, right, What Remains of Edith Finch actually is very much attempting to make an important point about like death and transcendence, and one narrative easily and without question. Based on that, in that it is all narrative. But mental health is such an easy trigger button topic that something, and this is not to say that Hellblade didn't handle it with grace and poise, because of course they did. Okay, but because it is handled with grace and poise about such an easy trigger subject, there was no way you're going to get, something like, the transcendence of mortality. No one's going to get that by comparison. That's not going to make any sort of a splash in the same way as like.
And it's more explored, right? The subject.
Yes, yeah. Then Edith Finch. It's Edith Finch reminds me of was it called Everything? Which it was just a track of a lecture with faux gameplay thrown on the top, and everybody thought it was this wonderful, profound thing, and it kind of was, but it really wasn't.
Oh no, Edith Finch is as impactful as Hellblade, but it's far more highbrow.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Like people think that these things are highbrow. Again, this lecture, it was the most profound thing, and they were going to take several playthroughs to understand it and all this sort of thing. Whereas Hellblade sets out very clearly, this is what this is. This is what it feels like. This is how she deals with it. This is how how she deals with it changes over time.
Although using the psychosis, and it's a legitimate reason, but it's lazy if you're a games designer. to justify having the puzzles be identical throughout the game, because that's exactly the reason that they use for the puzzles being identical, is that repetitive pattern matching occurs in schizophrenia, which it does. That's fine, but it's lazy if you're a game designer.
Yeah, they wrote it into her story as well, don't they?
Even if it's a legitimate reason, it's lazy. And without that girl, let's be fair, there is no Hellblade without her. Like, the girl who played it did all of the work in that game. Like, it's pretty visually, but the things I remember are like the screeching, kneeling down, smashing a skull into the floor cutscenes. That's the stuff that sticks with you. It's not the incredible CinemaScope landscape that you're like, yeah, that's pretty. This is a pretty dead shit. You don't remember that stuff. You remember the creepy Irish dude wandering around or in the background being weird.
Because again, he did a very good job, and the fact that they overlaid real footage on top of her CGI image was very clever. But yeah,
Ninja Theory did a great job, but the funny thing is that Ninja Theory, if they're known for anything, is the one thing that game really sucks at, which is the combat. Like, and it's like, Ninja Theory made this. What? Devil May Cry? Oh wow! Did they get their like D team to make the combat for this? Because this looks like the guys who weren't even allowed to be on Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard the excuse that the combat is that way because she's wading upwards, right? And the combat is meant to be slow, and it's meant to be draining, and it's meant to be infuriating because she's wading upwards. But there's no real excuse. Yeah.
If you're gonna, you can't get away with using those excuses for making your combat and your puzzles, which are 80% of your game, boring. Like, that game would have been a much better game if they'd have either made the combat good or just cut it out altogether and make it a walking sim.
A stroll playing game.
Yeah, is that what they're called? Is it? I love that phrase. Is that a phrase?
It's my new phrase that I stole from Twitter about a week ago.
Stroll playing game. That's fantastic.
Stroll playing game, and I love it.
Oh, that's a wonderful phrase.
So yeah, stroll playing game is it? But yeah, no. Like, coming back to it, these are all
predictable.
Yeah, these are all pretty straightforward. I'm not screaming and shouting at any
Everything
of them.
Won that we would have expected to win. Cuphead won everything that had an indie relation or a flavour to it.
Which is sad, but I understand.
I mean, Cuphead so definitively deserved art direction that there is no comparable game in the category. Best action game. It's an action game. It's better than Destiny 2, so I'm happy with that. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's so nice.
It's
so nice to see Persona 5 get a little win in there.
Wouldn't it have been nice if we'd have actually heard the category and the other nominations?
I don't understand this thing of cutting out categories.
Oh no, I can actually explain that. It's so they can play more adverts.
Sorry, my neighbour is still trying to snatch things off me.
So now, here's my issue with that, right? Like, if you're in the Oscars, okay, you have a run time, like a bang, finish by here, so we can start playing something else.
Yep.
Right? This is a live stream. Make it half an hour longer, you precious cunts.
Yeah.
And don't cut out categories that people actually care about, just so you can play more adverts. If you're going to play adverts the whole way through, that's fine. In America, adverts there will be like 7 minutes on telly. It's okay, But if you're going to play that many adverts, at least play all the categories and just make it half an hour longer. It's a live stream. Everybody will watch.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't like, I'm so bored of 3 hours.
If people have bothered to stay up until 1:30 to watch it,
pulling through.
Then
to watch the start of it as well. Like, it's not as if that was the end. That was the start of the show.
If you're still up at 5 watching this, you're going to watch it until 5:30. You're not going to stop. 5 o'clock in the morning is my car.
Oh, that's it. Also, you had your trending gamer of the year as Dr. Disrespect.
Sure, that's true.
Like,
can
we dispute that? I don't feel like it. Although my favourite tweet to come out of this award ceremony was the tweet showing him sat in the audience section with when your customizable character appears in cutscenes.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Although I did enjoy him having to do an interview with Jeff Keighley, and Jeff Keighley had to crane backwards to look at him.
because he was a monster.
I was surprised they didn't get him a fucking box to stand on.
Yeah, he is.
That was pretty funny.
He is tall. But
Fucking cherry picker or something.
You can't deny that he is. Yeah, it's definitively the most trending gamer without question.
And I mean, if it was somebody like Syndicate or T Martin, we'd all be sat here going, well, but
Maybe
like,
not to disrespect.
But Dr. Disrespect, I mean, the worst that I've seen him do all year is be nice to kids at events and joke about kicking a dude in the chest and then reeling backwards really quickly with his hands up in DMs being like, yo, I had no idea, I'm so sorry, friendo.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the worst I've seen him do all year.
Oh,
Like,
he's not bad. He's a good man. He seems to be nice. He doesn't seem to be a bad person.
no, exactly.
You know, he streams, he has fun, he's massively popular. I think we can get behind him as trending gamer of the year. Although, again, no best RPG category, but best esports personality, that got fucking read out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
all like
Also,
esports.
Also, in like a measurement of redundancy, most anticipated game as voted by fans is literally just who put together the nicest trailer. Like,
Oh, well, I mean, I mentioned this yesterday on my show. The good news the thing that really came out of the Gaming Awards is that FromSoft could hire a page in like CVG or some other game magazine, just have their name on it, like the FromSoft logo on a black page, and then 2019 on the bottom, and people would assume Bloodborne 2.
yeah, I'm just going mad.
So that's good to see.
I can't work out what that is in that
It's
teaser.
probably Tenchu.
Yeah, I almost certainly Tenchu.
No. I understand that. I can't work out what the thing is that they're showing in that trailer. I don't know whether it's my eyes or what, but I'm like, is that a spool of thread? Or is
it like the dog with his head sideways where no one can
when
really
you look
tell
at it and
what's
you're
wrong?
like, what is
So it's
that?
like the granny or the bunny, right?
Yeah.
Old woman, young woman cameo.
I'm like, well, is it a part of a weapon, or is this like the top of a guillotine, or I can't work out what this shit is. But everybody's excited, so that's nice.
I'll tell you what it is. It's designed to make people think that it could be from Bloodborne, when definitely it's going to be Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven.
Well, we know that it's not.
Shadow Tower or Tenchu, guaranteed.
Yes,
One of those
yeah.
two.
Well, wasn't there like a quote or something?
Yeah, the quote is Shadows Die Twice or something. It's
Yeah.
Tenchu,
Which is-
Tenchu or a Shadow Tower. Anybody
But
who
like,
Bloodborne 2 is a bit hopeful.
but I think that line is directly pulled from Tenchu dialogue or something from a
Possibly
previous.
is. I mean, Tenchu had Shadow in both of the titles for their games from FromSoft. So if it's not Tenchu, I will be surprised.
Yeah,
And
let's say
if
it
it's
was
Bloodborne
pulled.
2, I will be even more surprised. In fact, if it's
not.
Bloodborne 2, I will expect like Demon Souls to get a port to PC any minute now.
It's not Bloodborne 2, because before we have any form of Bloodborne 2, which I don't think canonically we can have, we have to have a history of Yharnam, and that should come either before or it comes before the initial Bloodborne. So we're actually waiting on some form of prequel, from what I understand, and I don't actually think canonically we can have a Bloodborne 2.
Personally, if I had to guess, what I really think they're doing is trying to solidify their own reputation, which is that they have the Souls, the Souls kind of game, right? Which has spawned its own genre now with things like Lords of the Fallen, and most importantly, Neo. And they're annoyed about Neo because Neo's pretty good, and it's set in like feudal Japan. So my expectation is Tenchu is designed to crush forever anybody's memory of Neo underneath the weight of FromSoft's own feudal Japan Souls game.
Yeah, just slinging their weighty balls around to demolish any memory.
It's going to be Tenchu. I don't think for a second it's Bloodborne 2. And anybody who thinks that Half-Life 3 is coming,
Any day now. Any day.
Any day now. Yeah.
the last 6 months.
I mean, we've kind of segued on to our second-ish topic of talking about some of the stuff that was revealed at that event. Bayonetta
What's revealed at that event?
Yeah. Oh, well, adverts and shit, right? Have you got like Bayonetta 3?
Yeah, I mean, that's
More
that's
Bayonetta!
So, okay, I have not played a Bayonetta game. because I'm
like spectacle fighters. There is no better spectacle fighter than Bayonetta.
You will need to see an optician afterwards, because they're bright and there's just so much going on. So there's a reason why I have to wear specs. But they're just flat
Bayonetta,
out.
apparently.
But they're just flat out good. They're just flat out.
There's no better spectacle fighter than Bayonetta that's ever been released.
Yeah, they they put the spectacle in it wholeheartedly.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's
put the spectacle in you.
Overwhelming like bombast in Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 can't really be denied. And Bayonetta 3 is the only thing that was announced at E3 that actually deserves anybody to get excited about it. And then, of course, a raft of it's gonna be on the Switch. Yes,
the Switch is a wonderful console.
Well, it's like, they're paying for it. Of course it's going to be on the fucking Switch. They're not going to pay for it and then be like, we're going to release it on everywhere, though. So just to guarantee that we, like, dilute our profits right the fuck down, we're going to make sure everyone can play it. Oh, but it's anti-consumer. Yeah, but we're paying.
Yeah,
but that happens all the time. Sony make first-party titles. Microsoft make first-party titles. It's no fucking different.
And anyway, look, this has been the case since, what? I mean, if we don't count the console wars of like Nintendo versus Sega, because there really was no cross communication at all in a lot of ways of those games. But we talk about more like PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, when the sort of exclusive thing really kicked into high gear. It's been a thing since the dawn, and it's still a thing now. I don't see why everybody is still so upset about Nintendo getting nobody else is going to get to play Bayonetta because it's on the Switch. Well, tough shit.
The problem that I always have with exclusivity is holding content hostage. So a game comes out on 2 consoles. If you buy it on X console, you get X maps. If you buy it on Y console, you get Y maps. That's shit, right? If you're going to release it everywhere, let everybody have the same fucking experience.
Absolutely, and I agree with that.
But if Nintendo are paying for it, if Nintendo are bringing it forward, they're saying,
there would have been no Bayonetta without Nintendo, okay? This isn't the same as Bloodborne. I don't believe for one second that Bloodborne went cap in hand to Sony after the success of Dark Souls 1 and 2. Please, can we make Bloodborne? Of course they didn't. Sony went to them and were like, we would love you to make a game that will sell us 1 million consoles. And that's how it went down. The opposite happened with Bayonetta. There would have been no Bayonetta 2 had not Nintendo seller financed it. And I don't see any problem.
No, we're having Bayonetta 1 and 2 now for the Switch. So we're reselling these games again. If I had the money, I would buy a Switch for Bayonetta alone to play on handheld. That the Switch is a wonderful thing. Awesome idea. The one that caught my eye out of this list, that I couldn't remember the name of yesterday, and I jumped up and down in my seat until chat reminded me, was Witchfire. Because Witchfire does this wonderful thing. Yes, it does this wonderful thing of putting you in an atmosphere-heavy stroll-playing game. And you go, Ethan.
Shooter.
Yes. You go, Ethan Carter devs. Yeah, wonderful, brilliant. And then you pull out this gun, and it says, and also these guys. And every part of me went, oh. Because they've already got the atmosphere right. Because that's what makes or breaks a role-playing game. And they've got a set of developers there ready who understand atmosphere. And from that first trailer, you can already see that they understand how to build atmosphere.
Well, they know what they're doing.
Yes. Witchfire looks gorgeous. The enemy design looks gorgeous. I'm so excited. I really, really am.
Witchfire looks interesting.
We don't get enough of these super kind of abomination gothic kind of games where you can take things in, where you can actually physically look around and explore and take things in. And the idea of that in a shooter makes me super happy. Super, super happy.
You don't see that kind of thing often.
Saw the success of Bloodborne, and with a proper development cycle that didn't rush it out in Lords of the Fallen. We're approaching the point where we're going to start seeing a lot of the titles that were inspired by, Bloodborne is like dark gothic Lovecraft, but fighting game, but what? But surely that's too like bleak a setting and too maudlin and like
Nope.
Yellowco's. No, that's good. Oh,
No,
okay,
give me
go.
all of that. Yeah, give me all of that. It's
Yeah, man.
genuinely great to see that kind of setting come out because I'm so bored. And I know people love it, but I'm so bored of these grey-brown shooters where things jump up at you and they're like, rah, rah, and you shoot them and you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm so fed up with things like
I
Fallout
think you're
and
playing
Metro.
a shooter with the Mutant Enemy logo. Josh Whedon's production company as all the enemies.
Yes,
Rawr.
yes, that,
Rawr.
exactly that. And it was so nice at E3 to see Metro taking a massive step away from that and actually making me jump from a trailer, actually injecting some color into it. And I love these environments that have a little bit of color and a little bit different, something different about
Although
them.
it seems like Metro has gone back to
Don't
like-
ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Soviet post-apocalyptic Russian nightmare.
I
with
mean-
their next one that's coming.
I mean, that's fine, but put some color in it and make me genuinely frightened of it, and we've got a deal. Like,
Well, I mean, Metro was never genuinely frightening.
Nah.
some of
Oh,
Metro
bless
is a
you. Come
little
on.
bit frightening. Some
Yeah,
of
it had
Metro, some of Metro is a little bit frightening. I want to be more frightened of it,
Light,
please.
maybe. Not 2033, surely.
Oh no, Last Light.
Yeah.
Not 23. What kind of human being do you think I am?
Do you want to ask that question,
Yeah,
or
no, okay,
do you want us to just
Never
move on
mind.
and
Should we talk about Norman Reedus's fetus? Do we want
No,
to talk
because I
about
can't
that?
talk about Death Stranding. None of us can talk about Death Stranding.
No.
We think we can, but we can't.
We've
No.
been told two things. One, that if we watch all the trailers, we will get a clue. Two, we've been told that the people involved in the project have all been told what the game is about and still are none the wiser.
Yeah.
Well,
The
it's a
clue
computer
that we're
game, yeah.
actually being given from watching all the trailers together is a clue to the inner workings of the mind of Hideo Kojima when he's not having got anybody constraining him and telling him to actually make a game.
Well,
And what
Yeah.
we might end up having happen here is something along the lines of Twin Peaks Season 3, which is by the time that Season 3 came out, David Lynch was such an important person that nobody was saying, David, reel it in. No, David, reel your dick in. No, David, for fuck's sake, what are you doing? We've had 9 episodes and nothing's happened.
do you
Yeah.
remember the story that broke when Metal Gear was in development and people are trying to steal my parcels? Two people stole my parcels. When Metal Gear was being worked on, and Kojima went, "Hey, I want a boss battle that lasts 3 weeks,"
Yeah.
and
That sounds like him.
they went, "No, babe, no, no, sweetie, no, please don't. Let's not talk about. Let's not do that, baby, please. Please just narrow it down. There's nobody there to do that anymore.
No.
This game's gonna be pure insanity."
The thing that amazes me is that so many people think that Death Stranding has potential, and I don't know what they mean. Because
There's no sign of anything.
it looks amazing, doesn't it? It's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like a fucking cutscene that is bonkers. There is no gameplay that we have seen.
No.
No.
All we've seen is cutscenes that are confusing.
This could be any type of game as well.
Survival horror game? Is it a walking simulator? Is it, in fact, a puzzle game along the lines of, like, oh, I don't know, what's a really esoteric puzzle game?
It could be fucking Tetris for all we know.
We don't know. And so saying that there's potential to Death Stranding is like saying that there's potential for Tenshu from FromSoft based on that trailer. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's Kojima. He can do no wrong.
I mean,
I mean, it's kind of, yeah. But you know what I mean. Like, that's
I'm
just
sure
it.
it'll sell 1 million copies. That won't make it good.
no.
No, not at all.
I imagine it'll sell 1 million copies out of curiosity alone, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I'll buy it and play it on the channel, but
I will also
Well, yes,
guarantee you
'cause
it'll
it
come with a
looks
demo.
horrendous. Yeah.
you know, it's unlikely I'm not going to buy it. But at the same time, I don't know what it is.
No,
Cool.
No, No.
I have no clue what is going on in Death Stranding, and none of us do. And saying it has potential is hope over like empirical fact. I hope it has potential is what people should be saying, but they can't because that makes you sound wishy-washy and like diffuse. And what you want to be doing is like lining up to slowly like hand job Hideo Kojima, which is fine. He's done some great games, okay, but there is nothing in Death Stranding that we know about, and there's nothing we can say is good about it yet. Like it's not like even fucking Soul Calibur was announced, right? Soul Calibur 9 or whatever we're up to. Yeah. Even that I can say, that has potential because it's got gameplay.
Yep. Well, and it's based on a series of games that have led up to this point as well. Like there's background.
And so we know that has potential. Okay, it might be bollocks, but it definitely has potential. Death Stranding has no potential right now. Death Stranding is a nothing existence until something happens.
It has a nice aesthetic.
We've seen little like cutscenes. We've seen little cutscenes of it.
Well, that's they're not even cutscenes. This is pre-rendered content. We don't know that these are cutscenes even. We have no idea what bearing this has on the game in any way, shape, or form. These might not even be included.
Could be tech demo shit. This could be nothing.
Well, we don't know, and we get lied to a lot about what's tech demo and what's not, and what you look at Detroit Become Human, for example, and we had Kara, the short film.
At Detroit Become Human.
Oh, you made me sad. Okay, so there was for you guys that don't know, maybe there was a short released by Quantic Dream, and it was about a robot being built. And she's being built, and she's suddenly asking why she's being built. So they go to take her apart again, and she screams. Like, she carries on alarming about the whole thing.
That was the best part of Detroit Become Human, and it wasn't in it.
Now. They put her back together, and they ship her off as long as she pretend that, like, she's quiet. And we were told that it was just a tech demo, and it was nothing to do with it. That is now canonically a part of Detroit Become Human. But for like 2 years, we were told that Kara had no bearing on anything whatsoever.
They did that with
the bit with the walker in Aliens Colonial Marines was a tech.
Oh no!
That didn't offend me a lot at all.
Oh dear.
They
I certainly don't want a game where I can ride in the walker and fight an alien. That would suck. I would have hated to fight in the walker, so I was really glad in Aliens Colonial Marines when it wasn't in there.
As well as all the shaders, all the textures that they'd showed you, all the lighting effects that they'd
Aliens
showed
Colonial
you.
Marines is hilarious.
None
There's
of it
points
was
where
in the game.
your teammates just run into a wall and just stay there. It's just the worst.
It's the modern age Daikatana.
So bad. But,
no, they did the same with Resi 7 as well, where that whole bit where you watch the videotape of them parading around the house filming a documentary part, that was the demo that was released. It wasn't going to be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it was sort of in the game. But they also put ghost girls and things in that demo if you played it for long enough and looked at the right spot at the right time. There are no fucking real ghost girls in that game like there are in the actual game.
I'm really glad of that. I'd have been quite annoyed if like Resident Evil just gave up on their like canon completely too, because I know they're reimagining it with 7, but
it's not that far from.
No, it was still sticking with the concept. It's still the virus that does weird shit concept that is Resident Evil, and because they roll with that, it was a good time.
And for something completely different, Sea of Thieves got a release date and new trailer.
Yay! Yes, I'm gonna play the shit out of Sea of Thieves.
That's never coming out.
Fuck you! Yes, it is.
March was it March 20th? I want to say.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that comes out.
I am so excited just to put a crew of myself and my viewers together, and we're gonna go and bomb the shit out of everybody and steal everybody's treasure, and it's gonna be a fucking good time.
Coming out in 2019.
It's not coming out, is it?
No,
Santo have got a new game. That was the one thing that I was actually excited about in terms of trailers. In the Valley of Gods. That looks great. Looks exactly like Firewatch in Egypt. I am all about that. I would love another Firewatch, but in Egypt. Thank you very much. I'll take 3 copies.
I really enjoyed Firewatch, but there was a lot of enforced bumbling about to pad out the game time, it felt like. And I wish
that's so standard in games though now. Like the only good examples of games that don't do that, I mean Bloober, Aspire, they made like Observer and Layers of Fear. Good examples of games that are like, no, we're fine with it being 5 hours long. We're just going to price it accordingly.
Layers of
But
Fear
I
came
think
at
an
a
hour and a
weird
half,
time.
2 hours of Firewatch was just bumbling about. Oh, now I need to walk over here. Oh, look, this is the wrong place because I looked at a stone. Now I'm going to walk back the way I came. And it really detracted from the experience for me.
But don't forget, that came out at a
The
time
baddie in the
when...
game is Mads Mikkelsen, Sketchy Doodles.
Yeah,
Mads
yes.
Mikkelsen, Norman Reedus.
Yes.
That's right, that's him.
One and the same.
But yeah, no, that game came out at a time because games discourse is always doing something horrid, and at that point it was doing games aren't worth the money if they're only 5 hours or less long, and we should all return games that are too short. Me.
Well, that's why Alien Isolation's got like 4 hours of padding at the end of what is
which
a
it
superb
really doesn't
game.
need.
Oh yeah, it doesn't need this backtracking that happens in the last like sixth of the game.
No.
The game is amazing anyway. If you cut that out, it would have been a superb game. As it is, that slightly hinders it, but it's still a great game. But
Well, we can't
No, that
have
was-
short experiences.
$60. It better be 25 hours long or more. I want it to be 20 hours long. It's a horror game. At 20 hours, everybody gets bored in horror games. You're not scared anymore because you're tired.
Yeah.
You can only be scared for about 3 hours. No, this is actually true. Like, physiologically, you can only be scared for a certain amount of time before fear. You can no longer be stimulated in that way. And that's why people get, denatured to horror. Is because you rapidly get used to it. Which is why a long horror game is stupid.
That's why things like Until Dawn was so successful. A run of Until Dawn isn't particularly long at all. But holy
That's
shit,
like 8
if you...
hours.
Yeah, but if you do that... If you do the ending where you save everybody and the things are looking at you, like, not them, they're looking at you, nope.
I actually, and I'm very proud of this, on my first and only playthrough of Until Dawn, I managed to wipe out every single person.
Good
And
thought.
that's not easy, man. Like, I was trying, that snotty bitch that's got black hair, I can't remember her fucking name.
Emily.
Is that Sam?
Shut up.
Emily. Yeah.
Sam's the
I
good one. The
tried
one with the
to-
towel never falls down, no matter
Oh,
how many
Hayden
times you turn her
Panettiere,
around.
yeah, with the magical towel.
I didn't try, I swear. At no point did I try and spin her around endlessly and walk her back
Scraping
and
it off
forth.
on walls.
Yeah, no, at no point did I try that at all.
Start running backwards and forwards.
Get those legs high. Come on.
This is the nature of, and it's not just horror that they do this in, but horror is the worst offender because there's a specific mechanic at work physiologically that you're not going to keep stimulating. And that's why it always, reflects particularly poorly in that genre. But it's true of all things, padding is the new vogue and has been 5-6 years now. And
Yeah,
it's
unfortunately
going
true.
away because you can get a game like Persona 5, which is gigantic, but consistently filled with like, I've not played it. I've watched bits of it, and it's consistently good the whole way through. It's massive though.
It took me about 100+ hours for a single.
Like
It's still not
we're
bad.
playing Divinity on, playing Divinity at the moment. We're like 80 hours in. We've not finished Act 2 of 5. We're 80 hours in.
Everything on fire. Every time I come into the channel,
We don't actually do that
everything is on
intentionally.
fire.
That's actually more a product of the game than us. Like everything consistently seems to be on fire most of the time around us, without us setting stuff on fire. The enemies do that a lot. It's a bitch. Divinity 2, by the way, was in Best Roleplay category at the Game Awards. You wouldn't know that
No.
unless you looked it up. It was, I assure you.
And it was a competitor. It was a strong competitor. It just didn't
I
have.
mean, Persona 5 was always going to win over
Yeah.
Divinity, because Persona 5 is a
But-
much more fast-paced game.
But another year, like I would have said that it could have easily taken it. Like taking Persona 5 out of the running, I would have said that.
The funny thing is, if they released it last year, Tyranny would have beaten it, and if they release it next year, Deadfire will beat it. So it's just a hard world. Being the maker, being Larian in a design space that includes Obsidian,
and being a 2.5D RPG as well.
If you're going to be that kind of game, and you're not Obsidian, you're already in trouble.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so.
They've carved the market so cleanly away that, and it's not to say that Obsidian don't like Tyranny, Path of Exile, and not Path of Exile.
Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity, I think, and Pillars of Eternity 2, which we've got coming. They're all really fucking good. It's no surprise. Like 3/4 of the team is the people that made Baldur's Gate and Planescape Torment and things like that. Chris Avalon did write for Larian though. He is in. He wrote for Fade, the skeleton dude. He wrote him in Divinity, which is why Fade is the best character by miles.
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Chris Avalon, man. It's all about Chris Avalon. If you don't know who Chris Avalon is, kill yourself.
Oh no! Can we talking about killing yourself? Destiny is still shit.
Yes.
In other news,
That's a segue. That's the best segue ever.
Flawless.
Talking about killing yourself. Destiny 2.
It's still shit. If you guys weren't aware, aside from what we're talking about in the chat, Destiny 2 has a particular gun that just hasn't been balanced. And so instead of balancing it next Tuesday, they've gone, hey, everybody can buy one now. Have fun.
But even better than that, they released a DLC and went, now that we've released this DLC, you can't do content that came with the game.
Yep.
And I don't know what is actually wrong with Activision, but
A lot.
I mean,
Most of it.
There is no seeming, like even companies that people are predisposed to hate, Ubisoft, for example, learn from their mistakes. If they particularly piss off their core audience, they do make an effort. Like, we know this. Assassin's Creed Origins has got people really happy. You know, it's like, you know, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Origins, said everybody who's an Assassin's Creed fan. It felt good again, you know? And
there was an upswing from the previous ones at very least.
Activision just do not give a fuck. And are intentionally, it would seem at this point, trying to alienate their fan base.
Because this is precisely what they did with Destiny 1. They did the exact same thing with the first DLC for Destiny 1. They released it, they released a new DLC, this was for Destiny 1, they released a new DLC, and then they had like these weekly raids or something like that you could run through to get like the high-end equipment at that point in time.
Standard MMO mechanics.
Yeah, and they made it so the week of that release, it was solely stuff from the DLC. So you could not do a weekly raid at all with just the base game. And now they're doing the same thing again, and it's just madness.
The problem that Destiny 2 consistently runs into, and it's a problem solved by proxy, is if you want to play Destiny 2, you might as well just play Warframe for free. And I'm not saying they're the same game, but they're close enough.
Similar experience.
Will be the defining factor. It's like, I could buy Destiny 2 and its DLCs for like $150 all told, or I could just play Warframe for free. And I'm not saying Warframe's better than Destiny 2, although a lot of people would, but it's definitely freer than Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And that's a real issue, right? Like, in that space exists Warframe sitting there all the time being like, we're free, we'll never charge you. You know, it's a comparable title. And if you're going to continue to just dick over your player base, they'll continue to shred away. It's like Path of Exile's existence in the Diablo space, right? In that kind of space. If you're releasing that kind of game, you know you're going up against either Diablo 3 or Path of Exile, right? Depending on whether your game is free or not, right? And that's fine, but you know, both of those games do their own thing well, and they've got their own supporters and so on and so forth, and they do their best not to dick over their particular supporters. But Destiny 2 seems to be actively trying to upset its player base when Warframe just keeps getting bigger and bigger and freer. You know,
I mean, I wouldn't say that they're trying to dick over their existing player base, but they're just trying to milk their current gamer base for as much possible money they can, but with no tangible result.
In the current space, where like after the popularity of the EA "Why Are They Such Bastards" campaign, it almost seems like the really big AAAs need to be, and we're not saying they're ever going to change and not be vile capitalist edifices, because that's okay, right? It is the way that the world works. But you would think there would be some like very gentle sops towards the idea of not being shithawks for like a month or two until people and then they can go back to being awful cunts. But just for a little while, like, don't like pour fire onto the already flaming trash can of like Battlefront, and by doing similar things, you know, step back, pull back slightly from the edge for 2 seconds, and then you'll get a reputation for being like the AAA that loves its people. And not that that means anything, because we all know that you're the shallow, monstrous edifice that of course you are, and that's okay. It's not a problem that is how AAAs operate, because that is always the dynamic. But yet, Activision is doing almost the opposite. It's like, EA got away with this, we can totally get away with this. We can do this filthy shit. And with luck, people will be confused enough to actually buy more copies of the same like repugnant garbage.
I think that's a real sticking point for me when I worked in game when the first Destiny was released, and explaining to people that in order to get any form of meaningful content, they had to buy the base game and at least one expansion was horrendous. That's a horrendous sell. Having to tell people, look, if you buy the game for them for Christmas, I know I sound like I'm trying to wind you out of money here, like I know I sound like that, but I promise you, you will not get the playtime out of just the base game. You have to go ahead and buy the next game. And people are confused and so go, well shit, I'll just buy it all.
Yeah.
Which is which the real reaction should be something like, really?
Fuck that.
I'll just buy a Switch and get Mario Odyssey instead then.
Right. But instead we get, but this is the game that, because it's usually for kids, right? Everything in game retail is parents who don't understand games.
Absolutely, yeah. The entire thing is designed as a massive honey trap for parents.
Right, and we can say all day, this game is similar, but will cost you less money. And will give you more content, and parents will say, but this is the one he wanted. So you go, okay, well, this is what you need. And the problem is they made this whole thing so confusing with, okay, well, you've got base game content, but as soon as the first DLC pass is active, you only have 3/4 of that base game content to play, so you have to buy that on top. And if you buy the season pass, you actually get another quarter content as well that isn't covered by the first DLC pass. So you're better off buying the season pass, even though you don't know what the content for the rest of the season pass is going to be like, because you get extra content that you wouldn't get from just buying the DLC once you know what it is.
You're nearly spending the same money anyway, so it's an extra tenner, you might as well.
But you weren't spending an extra tenner, that was the problem. It was fucking expensive to buy the base game and the season pass compared to just the base game or just the base game and the first DLC pack. And what did it come with in the end? Oh, well, Sparrow League Racing. Good! Yes! Everybody loves going around with their zoomy cars.
In fairness, that was the only thing that made me even slightly interested in playing Destiny, was the potential to drive around on the thing from Star Wars that you get. Those
the Sparrow, yeah.
Cool little,
they took that back out anyway.
Was it
Oh,
only
yeah,
a
yeah,
tail
I
thing
know.
in the end?
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that was the only thing that was like, I want to drive on one of those things. It's not in Battlefront, of course, but why would you
Yeah.
expect?
No.
Why would we expect to get to do any of the things I might want to do from Star Wars in Star
In a
Wars
Star Wars
Battlefront?
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Okay.
see
I mean, they
they'd
could
locked
sell
away?
fucking skins for the thing as well.
Yeah, did you see they'd locked away customization for it after the guy was like, "Oh, can you imagine a pink Vader? Can you imagine how ridiculous that would be according to the canon to have a pink Vader?" Right? And we all went, "Fuck you, we'd play pink Vader, what's wrong with you?" And it was later discovered that they'd hidden away a customization menu for each of the characters where you could alter what they looked like to suit you.
Oh yeah, because and this is the thing, Battlefront, and the reason for all of what's happening with Battlefront is because The Last Jedi comes out soon. As soon as The Last Jedi has been out for like a week and a half, they're gonna slap back in every single nasty, manipulative, money-grabbing trick onto Battlefront. As soon as they've got the sales of the tickets for The Last Jedi locked away, Battlefront will go back to being the malicious monstrosity that it was before they, Disney were like, have you fucking lost your minds? We will destroy you, EA. You think you're something. You are nothing. We own all of entertainment. How dare you compromise one of our products with, in any way, like depopularizing the possibility of The Last Jedi. We will eat you and like spit out your tiny bones. So yeah. We know that this is how it went down because it's there's reporting that Disney were like and we know that Disney weren't because they love Star Wars so much. It's because they're about to release something they spent $500 million on, and they really quite like to make a profit.
Yeah.
Be nice. So,
all right, you wouldn't get to play Vader for like 100 hours of play anyway. It's fine.
yeah.
Or otherwise, you're not going to get him. Because nobody wants to play as Vader.
Right? Holy shit.
Vader's wank. He's not the
He's only in
character.
it for like 5 minutes, isn't he? Nah, don't worry about it.
Vader. Fuck Vader. Fuck Luke Skywalker, Vader, Han Solo, and all the cool characters. I want to play as Stormtrooper 9. Please let me be a generic Stormtrooper. That's my dream.
Oh dear. But yeah, no. Destiny, they've locked down content unless you have the DLC. They've broken the content that's already there by not balancing one of their guns. So basically everybody's running around playing fucking laser tag in the Crucible because
Pretty much.
that's fun. Lol.
So that gun works because it has like burn damage on it, right? Like damage over time.
Dots gun on it.
But
Dots
they've
gun.
put like 3 zeros on the end of the damage it does and gone, yeah, that looks about right.
And so basically, and like I think it automatic. I don't know if it automatically fires, but like you can fire very quickly manually with it. Like
it's like a beam weapon, right? So the idea is you pull the trigger and then there's a beam there. There's no like bullet travel kind of deal. It's there and it's a constant beam, so you just shift it the fuck around.
But it keeps adding that dot and it stacks.
Yes. And they're not patching it, or we've been told no. We assume they're not patching it until next Tuesday, which we've had no real confirmation that they're
having
patching
conversations.
But we assume they're gonna patch it on patch day next Tuesday. So the Crucible at the moment is just broken. It's just fucking laser tag. It's dumb. It's fucking dumb. Because instead of going, hey, this gun is broken, we understand, let's take it the fuck out for now, they've gone, hey, the primary weapons dealer? Yeah, he fucking sells them, go for gold.
The funny thing about this whole deal is that this is the first Battle.net game that wasn't a proprietary Blizzard. Whether you like Blizzard or you don't, you can't really deny the fact that Blizzard, in every game that they have, is the controlling element in that genre. RTS, FPS, CCG, they control it. There's no better game than StarCraft 2. There's no better game than Hearthstone, or bigger, certainly, more popular, definitely. WoW, Overwatch. They are the dominative force in every genre that they have created a game for. And then
they have this abomination at the bottom of the launcher. And
It's like
horrid.
6 foot tall, blonde, muscle bound guys, and like some dude who's being dragged along because he's got no legs next to them. It's the saddest thing to look at Battle.net these days and be like, oh, I could play. Oh God, that's still on my Battle.net. Have they not got rid of this yet? Have Activision not been fully destroyed by Blizzard? Because that feels like that should be the next step.
And from what I remember, they basically said, "Oh, it's the only one we're going to put on there as well." So that's that glimmering beacon of truth that they're going to put on there is Destiny 2.
Joygasm. Destiny 2, which is worse than Overwatch, which is also on there. Good job.
So yeah.
I think they only did that so that I think this is actually a power play on the part of Blizzard to be like, yeah, just so we're clear who the secondary partner is in our partnership. This is your game, 9 players. This is Hearthstone, a CCG that's free, 26 billion players.
Yeah.
Just so you know, when we come to renegotiate this shit, you get less than nothing. Just so we're really clear.
You get this one desk.
Activision hole in a year. I hope that happens. I will laugh and laugh and laugh if like it just becomes Blizzard next year.
Yeah.
When they negotiate the partnership.
Are they going to rename the launcher again as well? Because why the fuck not?
Yeah, might as well.
I mean, it's had 6 names already. Why not a couple more, right?
Not a problem.
There's a couple of different ways around. They can shift the words. You know, it's fine.
I'm just waiting for it to become Hearthstone, the launcher, because no, I agree. WoW is important, but no, WoW's wonderful. We all love WoW. Like StarCraft isn't getting particularly played. It went free. It's not getting played. Diablo 3 hasn't got any muscle because Path of Exile keeps taking their customers, and so it should. You know, there is no. I mean, Hearthstone is sitting there going, yeah. 100,000 people will watch this on Twitch when it goes on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're like LOL. Do you remember LOL?
Yeah.
Heroes of the what? And don't name your thing after an acronym that already exists, Blizzard. Don't call something hot when you've got an expansion called that. Yeah, but there's already an expansion called HOTS. That was Heroes Heart of the Swarm.
Heart of the Swarm, right? I understand that, but Heroes of the Storm is good. Please don't.
I've played it once just to get the card back. I don't know MOBAs at all.
Good. Well, it's alright.
Oh yeah, that's an example of one that Blizzard doesn't own the genre. I actually forgotten about Heroes of the Storm, that it was a game.
Yeah.
There's no way they're beating down Dota and LoL.
I was going to say, is that still Valve's territory? Are we still calling that Valve's territory?
Valve's territory, I would say, yeah.
It's either Valve or Tencent at this point, isn't it? And I'm never sure.
Valve. I mean, like, as far as I understand, without really having any knowledge of MOBAs, it goes like something like, LoL is infinitely more popular than Dota. Dota is just better. That's my understanding from people who's, again, this is so proximal, this information, that, you know, I might as well have just read an article right now and been like, so from what I understand, LoL is, yeah, LoL is more popular than Dota, I think, in terms of the number of people, but Dota...
It's more accessible than Dota, for sure. Dota has a day-night cycle, which confuses me endlessly. Whereas League is very straightforward. You just off you pop. All you have to remember is your build and your skill order, and you're away. The nice thing about Heroes of the Storm is you don't even have to remember that. You just go and remember which way around you press the buttons. Like, super straightforward, super easy.
It's always felt like Heroes of the Storm for me was just LOL or whichever. For people that wanted to play with like Sylvanas. Is Sylvanas in Heroes of the Storm yet?
She's one of my mains, yeah.
Of course she is. Why wouldn't she? I'm assuming all of your mains are from WoW.
Well, of course. I mean...
Illidan and Sylvanas, is that your mains?
No, I play, Joe, it doesn't matter who I play. Can we move on? Please, before I super embarrass myself.
I mean... I mean, is that the theme of the show?
I main Wilfred Fizzbang or whatever his fucking name is.
No, it's people like Sylvanas, and I play a lot of Jaina, Although we always have this argument when we start up games. If I want to play Jaina, nobody's allowed to play Sylvanas, and nobody's allowed to play Arthas, and nobody's allowed to play Kael'thas because
or
that
is it
would
just
be.
because you don't like the canonical appearance of both of them at the same time? Arthas and Sylvanas could be on the same team without any problem. Surely. He broke her. She was his.
Yeah, but they're meant to be on the same team. They can't be on the same team. They can be on opposite teams. That's fine. They can't be on the same team. They can't work together.
At the time of Lich King, he broke her.
I understand the canon. You really don't have to explain that. You don't have
That's
to
what I'm saying.
explain
They
the
could
story
totally
to
be
me.
on the same team.
No. Because this is Arthas rather than he's like Paladin Arthas.
No, the Lich King is in Heroes of the Storm, isn't it?
No, I think
Arthas the Lich King is in Heroes of the Storm, isn't it?
He's Paladin Arthas, isn't he?
I thought he was. I know the Lich King's in there. It might not be Arthas because it's not him anymore anyway.
No.
The Lich King's in there, right?
Hang on. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
Time.
No,
Day9.
he is in as the Lich King, and that's why it bothers me. That's why it bothers me that you can't have them on the same team, because then it's cooperation. Cooperation is two sides working together. She doesn't want to, so she shouldn't have to, okay?
And she kneels to Arthas by day and by night.
Because she has to! He has to fucking put in... Do you know what? Let's move on before I get really upset.
And then the WoW canon fight began.
Well,
Right.
Well, it's this thing, right, where she's being coerced into it, and I don't like coercion.
I don't even think coerced is the right word. for
Well,
what's
no,
happening
but
to
that
Sylvanas.
was the closest English word I could find. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
Bless her completely and utterly dominated little heart. Although now in WoW, she's free of Arthas, so there's that.
yeah,
You know?
which is nice. She's doing good
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, she's protecting the Scourge. They're good.
She's frank. Doesn't matter what she's doing right now.
Should we move on to possibly the best thing I've seen in
Yes.
quite some time ever?
Yes,
Because
this
it's
is actually
amazing.
wonderful. I wish I had thought of this first. I wish I had thought of this first. Genuinely, his little
So-
face. I love it.
So, you know how every now and then someone pops up on Twitch and they're like, I'm going to stream the entirety of Law and Order because why not? Lol, who cares about TOS? And yeah, the actual show. Or like, oh, I'm going to show some wrestling because I can and I don't have the license, but I'm going to show it anyway. So one lad showed a UFC fight or a UFC card in its entirety and put himself on cam in the corner of the screen and was doing this in time to each of the punches and the kicks, and it was
The best part
amazing.
about this is that it became a thing that everybody knew about, and he's not been banned. His channel still
Oh, he
exists.
did?
Oh, was it
Let's-
only a temporary
Lester
ban?
_ gaming. It exists. Go there now. Check it out.
Oh wow! I thought it was a permanent ban.
Played Fortnite yesterday. Now,
He got a temp suspension. Like I know he got like.
got to say something about the enforcement of the TOS. That this such an overt move, like, I mean, I think, if I'm in Lester Gaming's head, what he actually saw was the girl who got 24-hour ban for masturbating or pretending to masturbate rather on IRL. And he was like, wow, I could just literally fuck a dog on screen and get a 10 ban. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see what we can do.
How far can we push this envelope? Do I have to kill a man on screen? Is that the only way I can get an actual ban?
There's only one way to find out, Adam.
I'll go and find a homeless person right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Please
gotta
don't.
push up
We
those-
still need
you're on
you
the
for another
grind,
like
right,
hour,
Adam?
half an hour. Please, just if you could wait.
I'll do it on my own channel, obviously. I'm not going to be mean about it. I mean, other than the murder, which could be considered a little mean. But, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't invite you back.
you know.
we would put you on the list for that. If
Yeah.
And there's a strike next to his name. Why did you strike next to Adam's name? He killed somebody live on screen. Oh, did he get banned? No!
But he got banned from our show.
He got slapped with a 24-hour and a slap on the wrist, though. He is pissed.
Oh god.
Oh,
Oh
God,
no, I
but
can't make content for a day. Ooh,
the
it's so sad.
point where
this
we're
is my
concerning
PayPal.
in the platform. That's a worrying time. Jesus Christ.
No.
It was funny. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was amusing that he live streamed UFC 218 or whichever one it was. And I like the fact that he was like jigging backwards and forwards like he was playing.
Yeah, he was going for it.
Yeah.
Because he timed this for the UFC 3 beta. I'm sure that like proper muddied the issue because not a lot of people have seen UFC 3. The fact that UFC 3 would have to actually be no, don't jump on me, you monster.
Aww.
No, he's taken to clawing up my leg. It's not cute. It hurts.
Good.
That's good, kiddie.
No, because the UFC beta is ongoing at the moment. Yeah, I know. Because the UFC beta is ongoing at the moment, that muddied the waters even further, and nobody, in fact, was sure at the time. Like, UFC 2 does look good.
Yeah.
There's a few ways about it. It's still a bit uncanny valley, but it looks good enough if you weren't paying much attention.
You need to look at it for a minute, don't you, to sort of go...
Oh, I'm looking at this now and I'm like, okay, I know that this isn't a game, but if I'd seen this without knowing that, I'd have been like, maybe they've just done an amazing job of recreating fighters.
The part I love about this clip as well is like, even the way they're moving seems to be like, push A, push L1, push B.
UFC does look like that because I don't know a huge amount about UFC, but one thing I do know about it is if you overextend your arm, you're going to get it nearly ripped off your body as the person sits on the shoulder blade and you lose the fight, which is why they're all really, really cagey all the time. They have to be because submissions are really dangerous and that's how you lose matches unless you just beat the person to death. So it is like this. It is PSA dodge. Dodge. Because you can't.
It's very one move, then another move, then another move. Like it's all very individually stacked.
Yeah. Like, Vince actually put forward a really good point that I adore. If he lowers the quality on this broadcast ever so slightly, I wouldn't give that a second look.
Oh, nobody would even know. Yeah, if he dropped it to like, just below 720, he'd be good to go. No one would have noticed.
Like
you got to admire the balls of the move, right?
I think that's marvelous. Like it fills me with joy.
It's just funny the level of no fucks given.
He's so into his game as well. Like it's not that he's enjoying watching the match. He's really into trying to win the game when he's playing in the corner, and that just warms my heart to no end.
Oh, he's doing a solid job of like pretending.
He's doing more of a job than people streaming the actual game.
Yeah, which is sad in a number of ways, but yeah.
No, man got a future, even if he's a bit
Well, yeah, he's not been banned, so he's good to go.
Precisely, and if he can be that animated throughout all of his casts, why the fuck not?
Yeah, just actually play a game. You'll be great.
Yeah, but also, restreaming content like bad against TOS, naughty bad.
We don't condone this. But this is marvelous.
Yeah, we don't condone this in any way, shape, or form.
It's pretty funny though.
But yeah, it's really good. I really like this.
I had to ban someone off of the reason I mentioned Law and Order at the start is I had to ban someone from our stream team and website. Because he was literally just sat there streaming Law and Order. And then I called him out, like, of all the things as well. Like, it's also you're going to get the fucking droves in, is it? Like, I banned him for it. He made a new account and went, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be good, blah, blah, blah. I look at this new channel that he's made and he streamed the entire WWE event on it. And I just don't even understand where, like, the brain begins to operate in that. I don't get it.
The problem with it is there's a wider issue here, right? Like, it is funny that he streamed UFC 208 218 or whatever. It is funny that he's animated and ducking around and pretending to play. It's funny that, as you say, if he dropped the quality, he'd have probably gotten away with it without anybody even noticing. There's a lot of stuff about it that is really humorous, the nuts on the guy to just do it, right? But there is the wider issue that it's been talked about before, of the enforcement of the TOS. Now we know that like somebody has to report a thing because it's not even possible. How could Twitch possibly monitor 1,000 channels at once? And there's more than that, but let's just say there's 1,000 for sake of argument. How could they possibly monitor 1,000 channels without having 1,000 mods who run around
24/7
from channel to channel all the time? It wouldn't be possible. So we know that they have to be reported and banned for a thing to happen, which is why sometimes things go under the wire and then they get, retroactively attacked or what have you, right? But when you know such a flagrant violation has gone down, and yet the response is so mild, it becomes
encouraging,
turning,
Yeah. No, we had this exact discussion yesterday over on my channel, where somebody was complaining about people with a lack of gameplay, and we'll call it that for the sake of me not getting really angry all over again.
Sure.
And it was, I like to call them out on it. I like to call them out on it on Twitter. And I sit there and watch, and I'm like, yeah, I already have several problems with this, and I don't report. But these people are ruining our platform, and you kind of sit there and you go, well, how do you imagine Twitch is going to find out? Because Twitch sure as hell don't look at your tweets. They don't give a shit about you whining in anybody's channel. How are they meant to find these people and weed them out? And I completely understand. We need clarification on contracts. We need clarification on TOS.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Oh, kitten. We need clarification to TOS. We need clarification to contracts. Because it's taken a lot of people by surprise that you can't shit talk other partners by name in your channel live on air.
Indeed.
That's a surprise to quite a few people, despite it being in our contracts. But people would rather sit there and whine and bitch because it's all Twitch's fault that they haven't set out the TOS. But Twitch aren't going to set out the TOS until people start actively looking to the TOS for help.
Also, another important point is that, then we have seen an awful lot of this, gaming content. There's not enough gaming content or whatever, and you're kind of like, yeah, but they've been going away from purely gaming content now for a good couple of years. Heavily popularized creative 2 years ago, and that was good.
It was at the time, yes.
Back in the day. And then they heavily popularized IRL. They really would like the platform to... Yeah, all right. They really would like the platform... Yeah, he's taken over. It's a thing now. They really would like the platform to be a bit more ecumenical, right? So that it's not just gaming. And that's well and good, right? They're trying to capitalize off the vlog, the reaction video stuff that has been huge on YouTube for ever such a long time. And they want to take a piece of that pie themselves, which is why the advent of IRL and a big thing. Because IRL exists, non-gaming content is a thing. If you don't want to watch non-gaming content, that's fine. Nobody's making you.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that it exists, cannot be changed. Twitch wants non-gaming content.
Well, it's one of those things where...
Sports.
Yeah, we have social eating as a category. Now,
that thankfully never got too big.
Yes.
It flared up and then shriveled up to a tiny, like a crisp bag in the sun. It was good.
So I've never ever watched a social eating stream because the whole premise of eating in front of strangers makes me feel so uncomfortable.
I never do it. I never eat on stream. I've done 12-hour streams and I've been like, okay, I have to finish the stream now because I'm hungry. Yeah. You can eat on stream. No. No.
Well, we went through, we do liquid lunches very often on cast, because I can't physically eat in front of them. That feels very strange. But I've never watched that content, ever. I've always bypassed it. And I don't watch a lot of IRL. Because that's not my kind of content, and I don't understand a lot of these people who come in and they're like, oh, well, I've been around since this time, and I've done this and I've done that, and as a big fan of the site, I don't think this content should be on Twitch. And I'm like, that's great. Don't watch it.
Also, that's where JTV started, so you haven't been around for long enough
Well,
You've obviously been around for quite a long time, but not quite long enough to remember when JTB had non-gaming content, clearly.
but no, like, I'm the same as everybody. A little bit of creative content in the evenings is wonderful. I wouldn't want to do it anymore because of the abuse that goes on over there. But
Sure.
for the people who are brave enough to do it and who build a following off of it, it's really, really good. And it's nice and relaxing, and it's always nice and chill. And you know, all the casters are wonderful people,
Well, it's
and I
nice to
enjoy
watch talented people being talented.
Exactly. So I kind of feel like a lot of these people who are saying, well, it's ruining everything and blah, 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 and who won't go to the TOS to seek out what's right or wrong, they're so inherently wrong about our platform. So inherently wrong about our platform and what it can be. What it's becoming and what it can be. God. The fact that we do need a massive TOS overhaul is... I mean, it's apparent,
Right.
but...
It's not even, the funny thing is, it's not even really an overhaul. The TOS is pretty clear about most topics. The problem is, it's not, like, heavily enforced.
You say
so, like,
that, the Patreon rule wasn't in TOS. We only found out about that because of Twitter, where a staff member
the
tweeted...
Patreon rule whereby if you have lewd content, you
Yes.
go fuck yourself.
If you have... It's now even to... If you have lewd content on your Patreon, you cannot have it on your Twitch
You cannot
profile
advertise
anywhere.
on your Twitch profile, yeah.
Yeah, no. But
Yeah, no,
it's-
that's fair. That's certainly an addition that needs to be made, since it's a rule that they are enforcing.
Yes, but the only reason we heard about it was because Pluto tweeted it in response to somebody who had been hit with a strike. She'd had a staff member contact her about it, and she had no idea it was a thing. I had no idea it was a thing. A lot of the other creative people who do that kind of thing, they had no idea that that was a thing.
I guess it almost doesn't occur to you, right? Like,
Right?
unless you're directly cross-referencing it,
Well,
like...
don't forget, when I started doing... I took poll to creative, and I was like, this is a thing that I want to do. And they came back to me and said, you will damage our platform. We don't want it. So I fought it, and then I took it to Hassan, who went, I don't see why that would be a problem. If you can
Hassan, who is king of us?
if you can moderate it and keep it under control, I don't see a problem. And yet creative were telling me that I would damage the platform. And I would give them some sort of ill, like...
Yeah, the
like
creative have been, like, very draconian for a time. Because, I mean, back in the day, and I still do it, I used to read out Lovecraft on channel. Now, Lovecraft's free domain, so there was no question of a legal challenge anywhere. But because I wasn't creating anything, you know, I spoke to my guy, and he was like, well, you know, tell you what, you're not creative, and they kind of get a bit precious about what you actually put under the creative tab. I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. I get that. I'm not creating the story. You know, I'm not writing it. I'm reading it out in a dramatic way. But I'm not creating anything. So I was like, all right, no worries. I won't put it under creative. And then periodically, I nose into creative. I'm like, this person appears to be reading out Sherlock Holmes under creative. I am angry now. I am angered at this because I actually sought out the answer and was told not to, and was like, yeah, I totally get why. I wasn't offended. I was like, I understand exactly why that shouldn't be under the creative tab. I will not put it under the creative tab. And then people do it under the creative tab, and I was like, I'm going to do it under the creative tab. But if I do, someone's going to come along and be like, we told you not to put it under this tab.
Yep.
As I say, the fight that I had to be able to do poll content, because initially I wanted to, because I was working on learning how to do choreography, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to bring my choreography homework to creative, because it's dance. Go fuck yourself. And they went, nope.
Yeah, creative are quite, I mean, generally they've been a bit precious.
But it's this whole... It's this whole thing of some of it is apparent and some of it is not, some of it is written, some of it isn't. They do a lot in this whole, or they used to do a lot before we had achievements, of writing things, official things on their website, and then going, hey, that's not actually how we operate. You look at how partnership applications used to work.
I had to get 300 concurrent to get partnership back in the day.
We got a partnership because we applied now to the website.
It wasn't easy.
I didn't eat nor sleep for 2 whole fucking months. I gave every hour I fucking had. No, well I did, but that's besides the point.
I'm a ghost now.
I mean, yes, you are, but still. The point is that they had on the website written you had to have 500 concurrents. But that's
what
not
it was, yeah.
what their,
It
that
still
wasn't
wasn't what
what their
actually
actual guideline was
Yeah.
at any fucking given point.
But I was just there to deter people that weren't serious, or much like a job application where it says you must have a master's in every topic that has ever been taught at a university, and in reality they'll take a BTEC in cookery.
There you
For
go.
positions,
That's just flat out lying to us about what the rules are and moving the goalposts endlessly. And I'm sorry, you can't do that.
Well, they've automated it now. That's the whole point of the achievement, is that it is in fact automated.
That's a bad plan.
Ish. Well, this is the thing, they announced it saying it was, but it's not.
They had success with automating affiliates by dint of
It's not
you
a
have
plan.
you have X viewers, you have X this. The problem with automation is it seems to suggest that it depends on how the automation works. If the automation works like this, then it's fine. You hit all the tabs, you get automatically flagged by somebody in partnerships,
And then
who then
somebody looks
goes
at
to your channel and judges if the content is both appropriate and acceptable, very quietly in the background without ever making themselves apparent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get partnership application.
That's
Hey,
more
Sam.
the space it's in.
Hey
And
Sam,
I'm assuming that's how it is.
do you remember that time that partner wanted to know why he couldn't have a swastika emote? Do you remember that
Yeah.
time? That was
That was
my
amazing.
favourite.
That was amazing. Did you see that, Adam? It was
I
in
remember
fucking
it, yeah.
partner Discord, and someone genuinely was getting pissed off that he couldn't have a swastika emote and why it had been rejected as an emote. And
Sure. And it used to be the case that emote. Well, this is I suppose emotes. It's a not a huge thing, but there was a point when a load of butt emotes got removed, wasn't there?
yeah,
Yes.
And that was a
You
thing.
couldn't
and-
have a cat butt emote with an arsehole on it.
Yeah. The blinding of Isaac theory of arsehole. It's a
yeah.
Yeah, like,
It's
okay.
a little cross.
You can't. You
but
can't have the little cross. You have to have nothing.
I mean, they
Right.
seem to flick flack a
Like,
little.
it'd be nice if it was more clear. Like the ring must be covered.
Yeah, that was the whole deal. Sadly, that is the way it worked, right?
Well, no, apparently
there were an
it's-
awful lot of butt emotes that were rejected or were taken down because they had maybe a bit of arse crack showing or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
cleavage
You were
must
fully
be covered.
covered
Yep.
Yeah,
to go.
There were 4 versions of my bum emote. There are 4 versions of it, depending on how the emote team felt that day. Like, it's really, but it's abhorrent that we're having to guess. We're always having to guess what the rules are. I mean, a lot of it, sure, is common sense. Like, but for the most part, we're having to guess, and that sucks.
I mean, it speaks of a gentle confusion within what Twitch wants to do about various things. That isn't the most terrible thing, but it's a very divisive position because it means you are the stability gets eroded mentally, and as you say, with applications of partnership, with any other factor, if the rules aren't directly adhered to, that's okay, but we'd quite like to know what the rules actually are. Rather than having to guess. And this is true of like emotes, and it's true of TOS violations and
categories.
various all sorts of mess that's been on Twitter now for months and months as more and more people are being called out for various negative positions. And as you mentioned the shit talking other partners on your channel thing, which the funny thing about that is that it seems like that should be self-evident. Because and I don't mean shit talking other partners, it's kind of like, should I shit talk other humans on my channel?
Yep.
Probably not.
The place this has come from is WoW streamers going, hey, this girl is streaming right now, let's take a look at her content. Yeah, she's a solid 8 out of 10, I probably would. Hey, donate, see if she'll give you some attention.
Oh, sure.
Which is the worst, that's horrible. horrible behavior. Why?
Which is already a violation of TOS through the restreaming of somebody else's stream.
but without the
Oh
restreaming,
yeah, but, I mean, even if you take aside the morally repugnant behavior,
yes,
right? Even if you like, let's just pop that over here in a box of moral, like, you know, decadence, right? And just leave that for a second.
Yeah.
The violation has already occurred the second you restream somebody else's content without permission. Because like I remember back in the day, Jack Fear, he pops up in my channel and he's like, we're having a discussion. It doesn't matter. We're having a discussion about Horlicks or Ovaltine or something. It was a silly thing. Anyway,
Ovaltine was the correct choice, but yes, sure.
How does Cthulhu feel about Ovaltine? Was the jokey thing, and it was like, and then he was like, he was like, do you mind if I stream your answer? And I was like, absolutely, I don't care at all. Thus sidestepping the TOS.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the answer first. Yeah, and you can do that.
Well, same with like events.
There's an immediate TOS violation right there before any other, like, you know, moral hideousness kicks.
And again, let's not, because I'll get.
Yeah, before the dehumanizing of women and the, you know, the general vileness of the attitude, you know, really gets going. There's already a TOS violation that's occurred. It's not like I need to look out hard for it. It's like you restreamed that person's content without their permission. It's a violation. There it is. It's in the rules.
Yeah.
The fact that you're then like a gross shit about it afterwards.
Just an extra cherry on top.
Violations. It doesn't like cancel out the first violation because you just made a much worse move.
Right. But to a lot of people, this "hey, don't shit talk other humans" is news. That's news to them. That's in our contracts. That limits.
Again, because the funny thing is that YouTube is like built on people shit talking each other.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and it's part of the culture. You know, they have a feud. X has a feud with Y, and they both do a video about the feud. And some of them are fake feuds, and some of them are real feuds, and some of them are like straddling the line in between. But it's very much a part of the culture of the vloggy aspects of YouTube. They do have the vloggy aspects of the
vlog. Yes.
The vloggy. I'm going to use it. It's a word I've made up right now.
No, vlog. That's fine, yeah, you go right ahead.
The vloggy aspects of YouTube. Yeah. I'm not using vlog. I don't care.
Vlog.
If it should be pronounced vlog, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I automatically, whenever I see the word vlog written down, insert a little line in between V and log. Because
I bet you pronounce it
video log. Okay? It's not a vlog, it's a vlog.
I bet you pronounce it fucking GIF as well, don't you, you twisted being?
No, I pronounce it GIF because it's clearly... what did the creator say?
GIF.
That's fine then, he created it.
Yeah, but I'd imagine you pronounce it that way as well.
Isn't it an acronym for something like graphical image something?
Yeah.
Isn't GIF an acronym, which is why it's pronounced GIF? Because it's graphical image something, right? That's why it should be pronounced GIF, even though he may say it's pronounced GIF. And he is the creator, so he's fine to say that. But you can't say that about an acronym where the first word is a G. Choose a different word if you want it to be pronounced GIF. But yeah, but this is the inherent, the culture is in vlogs.
Vlog.
Vlog. We're gonna have to put little subtitles every time you say it so that people understand what you're talking about, because it's not a vlog in any way, shape or form.
in vlogs.
Can we have like a wanker stamp for every time you say it that way?
Hold on a second, I'm just going to see if there's any way on Discord on Zoom that I can actually type the hyphen log on screen.
You can, but I'm not telling you how. Get fucked.
Okay. That's the culture on YouTube, okay?
Yeah.
And that's fine. And they want some of that YouTube flavor on Twitch, which is hence IRL, right? So the streaming content rule it doesn't get sanctioned, is the point.
Unless there's a specific complaint.
Yeah, unless somebody complains. But even with the complaint, it's like wrist slappy territory. It's not serious.
As with most things.
As with a lot, yeah. But this is the territory it's in, because they want some of these sort of IRL streamers to feud. That's the dream, okay? Because those feud videos make those particular streamers massive, and they generate revenue disproportionately to the quality of the content for the company and the person. So that's fine. It's a move in broadcasting, but it means that it weakens the position to actually sanction that kind of behavior, which means that, you know, things like which is why you can now step past the all restreaming is a violation, which is why the moral repugnance kicks in, because the easiest way to, you know, to be feuding with people and to do that sort of thing is to be a shit. So it leads you naturally to the state of restreaming somebody's content whilst being a wanker about it, as the obvious progression path, right? That's
I mean, just throw a few cockpicks on stream as well for the full trifecta and be done. May as well get your money's worth if you're only going to get a 24-hour, right?
Well, that's the thing.
Sure.
I mean, there was one of the guys who edits for Lily Pichu. He was what was he? He was photoshopping her boobs to be bigger on all of her YouTube thumbnails, and he had a ban for 24 hours, despite her being in the same room going, "Stop it! Stop it! I hate this! Stop it!" Or whatever voice she doesn't. She has a really high voice, doesn't she? Shit. Never mind. Anyway, maybe it was her flatmate with her as well then that was making that voice, but it was really irritating.
She doesn't speak in a Welsh accent, that much is for sure. That impression is flawed.
Anyway, so yeah, he sat there on Photoshop in front of hundreds of people, photoshopping their boobs to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that got a 24-hour suspension, and that was it. So yeah, these people are looking for new ways all the time to...
I suppose the real thing about the overhaul that needs to happen to TOS is if they want it to be loose and easygoing, which is to say that you have to really kill a man on stream to get a ban, that's fine. They just need to take out all the rules that say that there's these other things that will get you, some sort of sanction. If it is the case that they want it to be a very much sanctionless thing, that's okay. Right? It's fine but it needs to be a sanctionless. There can't be an edifice that says don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and then sanctions never occur, because then it becomes this really weird mixed message. If you want it to be the case that you can have IRL feudy peculiarity and so forth, great, but take away the rules that say that it can't be done. You know?
I know. All they really need to do is just go, by the way, if you act like a cunt, you're not going to get affiliate, you're not going to get partner. If you do currently have it, it'll be taken away. Up to you. Get on with it.
Right, but then you have varying degrees of being a cunt. So, for example, my idea of being a cunt is let me think. Okay, so, perfect example. Every time I go into Adam's chat, I give him shit.
Hey! Now this.
Listen,
why is this about me?
Listen, it's not. It's about me. It's fine.
I'm going to come down hard on the example of not being a cunt in this story. Otherwise, I'm going to be really pissed.
So,
this better be every time I go to Adam's chat, and he's such a wonderful human being. No, I'm just laying the groundwork for how this has to go. Okay, so that the logical pathway can be observed by the full audience. Do carry on.
Are you done?
I am finished at this time.
Yeah.
I reserve the right
allowed.
point.
Defense rests.
Alright, so, there's different, I mean, for me, I go into Adam's chat and I give him shit, right? And I genuinely give him shit. I love to see him cry. Just seeing him cry makes me so warm and fuzzy on the inside, it's not even funny.
Sure, of course.
But that to me is being a cunt. And if he wasn't my friend, I would feel horrendous about it. Him being my friend, I only feel slightly horrendous about it.
You wouldn't do it if there wasn't a close connection that already exists.
No, but there's a very big difference between me coming into a stream and giving you shit and what some of the people on this platform have been doing recently.
Although also, and an interesting side point to that is that, so let's say you come into my stream and give me shit, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, this is fine, this is whatever, right? Go into an exactly different stream and say the precise same thing could easily be taken seriously, out of regard.
But this is what I'm saying, right? Is me going into a stream and being a cunt is different to what Sam would think being a cunt is different to what Englander would think being a cunt is. Because I hate upsetting people, and I always feel like I'm being... So you can say, hey, the TOS is now, don't be a shitlord, but what does that encompass? And I feel like we need clarity in what being a cunt is, or being a shitlord is, whichever
also,
word you want to...
You've not least of which got the issue that it's the reception of said behaviour.
Yeah.
It's like a key differential as well. And say, come into my stream and give me shit, it's fine, right? You go into somebody else's stream and say, you could literally copy and paste the exact same word in a different stream and get an absolutely different reaction. And so suddenly there's an issue right there, and because it's you and you've got the purple tick mark beside your name and then it's like, okay, she's giving him shit, she's a partner. Oh, hang on a minute, she's a partner and she's giving another partner shit in his stream. Is that okay? Is that all right? Potentially think somebody who doesn't know the circumstance. Whereas by converse, you go into somebody else's stream, you've still got the purple tick mark next to your name, you say the exact same things. Well, suddenly a partner's giving another partner shit in their stream, and it's not affectionate or anything like that. It's caustic, right? And it becomes a shit position, yeah.
But my point was less the change the TOS to just be don't be a cunt, and it was more of a just point out the fact that it'll fuck up their ability to earn on the platform, because it will anyway. Like, if you've already got a black mark against your name, even for a 24-hour, odds are you aren't going to become an affiliate, or you aren't going to be, at the very least, become a partner. All they really need to do is, with how it is at the moment, just sort of turn around to them and go, well, you do understand that if you do break rules that are somewhat apparent under the guise of not being a prick, then like you should appreciate the fact that you're only ever going to become a viewer and occasional streamer at best, really, and your earning potential is basically nil on the platform. And that would be enough. That would probably be enough to ward people off, because I think a lot of people see the 24-hour ban and go, who cares, it's 24 hours. They'd actually give a shit if they couldn't get one of those lovely little buttons put on their channel.
The problem that you have from there are people who are higher up than myself, higher up than Adam.
There's no one higher up than me, just to retain that for anybody who's under some misapprehension.
Oh, are you 8 foot tall yet?
I am a giant of a man. I grew from 6 foot to 8 foot in the last hour and a half of the cast.
I was going to say, you stare down on Dr. Disrespect now, right?
You guys can't tell because I'm sitting down, but my camera actually has to be set up 1.25 foot from the ceiling. So
wedged in clothing.
You can't tell, but I can actually drop my headphones from my ear, and they don't actually hit because they just swing off the bottom.
That's why it made such a noise.
On my shelf, so it all looks right. Carry on.
That's why they made so much noise earlier when you threw them off in rage.
Like ready to go.
Absolutely.
Drop down 5 foot.
No, there's a lot of partners a lot further up who do these things. I mean, we've seen fake swattings. We've seen people who I don't know how to describe that without being super rude about it. But the people who open their legs in front of their camera and you see all their lunch for half a second.
Oh, the phrase is reveal their vagina on cast.
No, thank you. So
that's the turn of phrase I was trying to think of earlier.
He said all the rude words, so I don't have to.
I didn't say one rude word in that statement.
Shut up. Anyway, so there are
their
people
twat
who
on
do
cast
these
would have been
things.
much ruder.
Like, they do these things. You're a fucking twat on cast.
That's my entire show. What are you talking about? And that can't be a TOS violation.
If my show ever becomes that, please kill me.
There's very little
That's
porn
it.
on my channel.
If that's it, like, but no, a lot of these people higher up, and I feel like because of the way that the TOS is enforced at the moment, we're actually very frightened of losing these people.
Well, there's the other aspect that, despite the 2 years ago when they were formed, and everybody laughed at the idea, Mixer is gaining a degree of traction.
Really?
Don't get me wrong, it's not much, right? But they are starting to exist to an extent, rather than just being this almost laughable. I mean, the competition is still You know, the United States of America taking on like, you know, Jersey in a war. It's not, don't get me wrong, there is still a really clear scale of differentiation here, but they do exist as an edifice now, right? And this is not to say this is going to happen, but all it really would take is a bit of a shred from, like, you know, a bunch of top end people to just go there, or to YouTube gaming, which if it wasn't, you know, vile beyond belief. But, you know, all it really would take is that sort of shift. And so you're right, there is definitely this feeling that if we lose some of the top echelon, huge 10,000 people casters to somewhere like Mixer or YouTube gaming or something to that effect, then there will be a landslide effect, whereby that guy went over there and he's now doing the same thing that he was doing on Twitch, but he's not on Twitch anymore. You know, maybe we can go, because that happened with YouTube 3 or 4 years ago, when all the big YouTube personalities decided that they could also stream and have another massive revenue stream to, you know, back up their YouTube thing. And, you know, we saw it, and people like Press Start to Continue and Total Biscuit and, you know, a wide variety of these really big YouTube, gassy Mexican, massive YouTube folks who rolled over to Twitch with an inbuilt following. And obviously then they were big streamers, of course, because they have it's just a live version of what they were already doing on YouTube and getting 300,000 views on a YouTube video. Well, now it's live, and it's just, you know, not.
I mean, as long as they're not hyper-edited style YouTubers where it's like every fucking syllable they have to jump cut something else because they can't spit out an entire thing. As long as they're not to that degree, they can transfer to streaming very easily.
The exact same skill set, right? You know, it's like the only difference is that they have to be, you know, slightly more capable of being live. But if they have the skill set to make YouTube content, they probably have the skill set to be live, because they're already used to being careful about how they speak and enunciating and stuff. And that's really just the same skill set. You're talking about games, you're just doing it for longer. And provided they can do that, which they clearly can, because the number of people who have done that is gigantic.
Well, the only thing they have to be aware of then is control, isn't it? They have to be able to control themselves in a live setting, because unfortunately, everything that we say that ever goes live and everything that we do that ever goes live is
but that PewDiePie is a good example of
yes,
this. Like,
absolutely. It's that thing of he could edit that out to hell and back.
Absolutely. It's not like if that hadn't been live, he would have just cut it out. Yeah. It's not hard.
And from what I understand, him and his editor, they talk about that. Like, they talk about things like that a lot in that particular way.
Oh, well, I mean, it's quite self-evident, you know. Yes. Like him, dislike him, it doesn't really matter. The important point is, if you are going to casually use an epithet of that kind, then you do it naturally. You do it all day. 'Cause if you don't do it anyway, you're never going to use it.
But my point is that we have seen it before, but we've not seen it to that degree, because predominantly his content has been edited. Whereas live, people have to show some sort of modicum of control, where we don't blurt out random crap on stream, and we don't offend everybody on stream, and it's super difficult to do. It's very difficult not to lose your temper on stream. It's very difficult not to get carried away with things on stream, but you have to do it, because at the end of the day, we are professionals, sort of.
Absolutely. I mean,
in our own little way.
No, absolutely, and we are, and you know, doing it full time, it is your only source of income. You're a professional at it, and this, of course, leads us back to the issue at hand, which was that Twitch, to an extent, is definitely afraid of losing their gigantic streamers. People, you know, the high end people, the people that sit at the top of no matter what list is happening, the people with 10,000 viewers, 15,000 viewers, whatever. Those people who are up there, they're desperately afraid of losing that kind of person. And that kind of person would have to do something truly terrifying before they would get banned. Like, it would have to be some sort of gigantic, colossal thing. It certainly wouldn't be
touching their vagina on cut. Wait, no, that doesn't.
I mean, because
it was only like 2 frames. I've seen it. I've wound it back. Like, I've replayed it frame by frame. You only get to see it for like 2 frames, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, but it's repeatedly
on the internet. But, no, but this is the point. In her case as well, of course, she was smashed, or at the very least doing a good impression of being smashed. And, you know, you get away with it, right? This is how it goes down, and this will be the case. And it's not a surprise that this is the case. It's just that it does exist. And again, it goes back to an overhaul of the TOS that says something along the lines of "Don't kill a man on screen." The end.
Yeah.
Well, we could do without killing a man. What else is there that Twitch are
Really
afraid
was
of
some
at
different-
this point?
I think it would
Because there
it would
isn't
come
a lot.
down. What they're really leaning in the direction of is don't actually commit a crime on air, because anything that they can be legally punished for,
Yeah.
I think Twitch will be actively against.
Yeah.
Right? And that, so actually committing a crime on air, no matter who it is, because if anybody sees that, then the police will arrest that person. It's not rocket science. They'll go to Twitch and say, "Give us the fucking address," and then the police in that area will go and arrest that person.
Well, it's like the guy who stole the shoes, right? There was a guy who was he had a police raid on streams. One of his viewers called it in. And this guy gets carted away and the police leave his door open. And this fella walks in live on stream and just starts nicking a bunch of his stuff. And it's like...
Baba.
Okay, sure, yes, absolutely fine. And, the only way the police knew who it was because they had this giant section of footage where this guy is looking over at the computer and trying to pull it apart and then picking up stuff. Like,
This is the thing. I mean, if Twitch in fact, which is roughly what we suspect, Twitch in fact, simply put, getting a ban is almost a case of committing a crime.
At this point,
that will actually, that's the only way you're really getting a ban. Not a 24-hour wrist slap, which doesn't do anything.
Well, no. If you're of any size, it needs the kind of qualifier.
Well, this is inherently where the problem kicks in, right? Because it seems without being bias determines what you can get away with.
Yeah,
to an extent. And somebody with no connection, not an affiliate or whatever, will get incinerated immediately for doing a thing that really wouldn't scratch somebody else. And this is why people are up in arms, because of the lack of parity. And that's why the overhaul, if Twitch is to be, to move in the direction they want to move in, would have to be very much don't commit a crime. And that's it.
And again, the stuff that allows, is there do we see any
Well, the problem
problems
with that,
with it?
like if don't commit a crime is the only rule, then Twitch is definitely going to immediately become chatterbait, like that. The second that Twitch doesn't come down hard on sexual content on stream, like Twitch will become chatterbait so fast that it will be the assumption when you go into a female stream that they are going to take their clothes off. Like, that's how fast Twitch will become chatterbait if sexual content isn't come down on, right?
They would need a section for it, surely. To keep the rest of us safe.
Absolutely. But the problem with it is that's how quickly it will become
Yeah, for sure. And
the cam models would gladly come onto Twitch and stream to and be on a platform with a bajillion daily users.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it'll allow them to diversify their content, find new audiences. Why the fuck not?
There's already a large and cross section of male and female streamers who would be very happy to sexualize their content more. And so we know that Twitch doesn't want to become that, so
I probably shouldn't look so enthusiastic at that. Actually, let me draw my face back in a sec.
Hold on a second, guys.
No.
Oh, it's a third button. Third button
Opens. Is that the line? Is it the third button?
We fucking talked about this.
Just keep unbuttoning until the channel gets shut down, Adam. Just so we know once and for all.
I think I could quite easily take off, at the very least, all the clothes you can see.
And you'd be fine. Me, on the other hand,
Sure, obviously,
it'd be a massive issue.
I get
You can
that.
take
I
off your
can't
headset.
be fucking comfortable. Everybody else is allowed to be fucking comfortable. I'm not.
I'd be super uncomfortable if I was seeing a show. I'd be so uncomfortable, you wouldn't believe it. I'd be doing this. Yep, shirtless. Definitely shirtless. Can't tell though.
Look, collarbone. You can tell. That's all you're getting.
That's the thing
You can
though,
check
like
that
on
on
stream
your page,
genuinely. You guys know I have that, and I have to be really careful about showing people that tattoo.
In
'cause
actual
people get a
fact,
bit-
all joking aside, I can't lower my shirt collar, my button lower than this, because 3 buttons would put it here, right? That's the 3rd button here, right? If I undo this one, then I am shirtless to the theory of the TOS, right?
Yeah.
So I actually cannot, in theory, open my shirt lower than 2 buttons.
However, this is your channel, and so.
Oh yeah, I could totally get my dick out right now without it affecting my channel whatsoever.
It's been great having you on this week, Adam.
Glad I could come on and support your stream.
So, suddenly all the jokes I make in your channel I'm going to take back really, really quick. There's a certain subset of jokes that I use in Adam's channel that I'm not ever going to repeat ever again, because now, yeah. So,
I was going to say, I think we've been on this subject for an hour. Perhaps we should move on to...
Do we have subjects?
Yeah.
we want to talk about the stuff that we've been playing, and the stuff that is good that people should play, I guess, because we do that every week. That's a nice, safe thing where I can't.
Actually, can I point out that I arranged 7 topics for this week. We have done 4 and had to move on because we have meandered so wildly.
I didn't read them, and so this works.
I know you don't read them.
I did read them. I even read the articles. That's how much I care. Even if I already knew about the topic, which I did.
Don't you give me this. I had a snotty message last night thanking me for the homework. So don't you start this.
And I completed my homework as well.
Yeah, so what a fucking waste of time that was. We had talked about half of it.
Shall we talk about some nice video games, please, before BT cut my internet off for the night? Sam!
Yeah.
Sam, tell me about a thing that you and I have both played that I am massively, massively, massively in love with. Go.
So, I've been playing Audio Shield, which is made by the same people that made Audio Surf, which is like a little game, rhythm-based game. You can put in any song you can name on the face of the earth, and it kind of does some mad processing stuff to it and turns it into like a track that you can play when you move.
Rock Band, then.
Ish, yeah, but like use your mouse to move between, and it's like kind of an obstacle coursey sort of thing if you hit different symbols and whatever. Well, no, somewhere between Rock Band and Quap, closer to Rock Band and nothing like Quap.
That was both a very delicate and insulting way of answering that question. It's something like Quap and Rock Band, if in no way you thought it was.
It's kind of like, isn't it kind of like Rock Band versus like a racing game?
A little bit, yeah, ish in that kind of thing. So Audio Shield is kind of like the evolution of that, where you've got your VR set on, and also, in my case, looking like a fucking Power Ranger, because that's how my one comes.
The VR set.
I want one of those so badly, it's not even funny. And they're like 500 quid. As if I'm ever going to find 500 quid to be able to play rhythm games in a different world.
Disclaimer, I did not pay for this.
So I wouldn't pay for an Acer one either.
No. But thank you, Kid Guru and Acer, for sending me this as part of a prize. But
well played, Acer. You're the best.
Yeah, good job. But yeah, you look like a knockoff Power Ranger wearing this. And you're in like an arena, and you have like balls coming towards you.
I'm gonna go
straight towards your face.
I don't feel like I could be
some music.
There's a really horrible moment in this game where suddenly you look
I think the
up,
ball's
and
racing towards you.
there's some there, and you're like, oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, no, I got to have a go at this, and I have never been so tired after playing a rhythm game in my life.
It's
Holy
knackering.
shit.
And it is really rewarding to kind of hit on beat, and there's something just really satisfying about.
Or is it a console thing?
It's just on Steam as a VR experience. Because you, as I say, you can literally just pull music from your PC. You can pull it from SoundCloud. You can pull it from YouTube. So basically, if there's you can't find
like a VR version of, the screensaver that was on Windows in like '95, and it would bounce around the screen. It would react to songs. Like the fractal reacting to songs.
Yeah.
If you had a music, it was just normal fractal shit. It sounds like the evolution of that.
Pretty much. But instead you get to do this a lot and knacker your arms out in the process.
I already did that with the fractal one. So this is
you're doing that, but you're also doing little shoulder shimmies along with whatever you're going with, and it's just the most wonderful experience. I genuinely love this. I was really glad to be a bandito for a little bit and get to play it. Do you have one of the face masks to hand? So to stop germs.
And I'd gotten rather warm because this thing is like having a microwave oven strapped to the front of your head.
Hey,
you
really can't joke about that anymore. Some kid got stuck in a microwave oven, a YouTuber, and
what prick he was.
Yes.
So to protect yourself,
that's the exact thing you should joke about if somebody got stuck in a microwave oven.
So I had to wear one of those.
I joke about that. I fucking can, and I will, and loudly.
To protect yourself from germs, you can become the full Zorro.
The full Zorro may be an extension of what you did with this incredible disguise.
The budget Zorro.
Where did Sam go? We seem to have lost Sam.
Zorro that you might go to a Halloween party as. At least get
Never fear, enjoyers of game news.
Get a fucking hat and a sword, otherwise you're literally just a sex criminal
in a mask
trying to keep his identity semi-secret.
So yeah, no, I fully.
It's a good game though, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really good. But I say there's some level of satisfaction that you can just draw from it being rhythmically in time to.
You can do with your friends, or is it a very much single player?
Yes,
thing?
laughing at your friends is good. Laughing at your friends doing this is good.
Alone in the basement, I think, is probably the best way to enjoy it. Or out of sight of anyone that's likely to giggle at you looking like the aforementioned knockoff Power Ranger is probably.
The problem with that is it's just taking gaming closer and closer to like masturbation again, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you can use the very same headset for porn, so there's.
And that's why you get the mask, because at some point you're gonna have to take that thing off your head, and you're gonna have to use your hands to do it. Yeah, it's a cum shield, isn't it? That's what that eye guard is.
Yeah, do you not see the sort of like?
Oh, what, the germs on my face? No, it's for ejaculate.
But do you not see the sort of aerodynamic?
That's what fake eyelashes are for. Don't be silly. You don't need a giant mask. It's just what eyelashes are for.
Well, quite. But it's a good time, yeah?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really good fun, yeah.
Yeah, really, really good fun. I really like this one. I really want one of these headsets, but they're like 500 quid, and there's no way on this earth I would ever find 500 quid to sit there and play rhythm games all day. Like, there's no fucking way.
It's VR. Like, there are probably 5 good VR games.
Well, VR is still a burgeoning thing, right? Like, in 10 years' time, we're going to all be playing VR.
Yes, but you have to understand, like, I have a VR headset for this piece of shit, right? And I use it to sit at the bottom of the ocean when I'm sad. Like, don't question how much. Don't question how much I would use a VR headset.
Oh, no, everybody would. This is the thing.
Right.
A, no longer delineates auto nausea for 60% of the population. B, has games that aren't a barrel of shit. And C, actually has world experiences that people want to be in. Everyone's going to be playing VR. VR is going to be the thing. That in 10 to 15 years' time, we're all going to be playing VR games without question. Now, they suck.
I mean, the Gear VR's got some nice things where you can walk around, like galleries and stuff are starting to now film in 360, so you can walk around galleries that you would never ever get to visit. And that, I think, is a really powerful thing. And as I say, like, when I'm sad, because I'm a sad little individual, I sit at the bottom of the ocean and just watch things go by.
But you can do that for free. You don't need a headset for that.
I mean, you need an aqua lung, though.
Just have a chat with that YouTuber lad. Pop them around your feet instead of your head. You can sit at the bottom of the ocean all day. That's fine.
I don't...
But honestly, until VR is in fact, because we know that Doom is just coming to VR,
And apparently that does just enough to be acceptable.
you know, but this is like the burgeoning, right? This is the point where it's going to explode outwards from here. Like Skyrim, Doom, it's mostly Bethesda doing this, quite honestly.
Yeah.
When this stuff really hit, and that is only going to be like 2 or 3 years from now. Because if they're achieving that now, a couple of years time, they'll be nailing like FPS. When FPS hits VR, that's really the explosion point. FPS and RPGs.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. When you can legitimately play an RPG or an FPS game, horror even to an extent, in VR, it's going to be the explosion point. Like, everybody's always asking me, what's the next big thing in horror? And I'm like, it's VR. It's absolutely VR. As soon as VR horror is a thing, then every other horror game will fall away forever.
As soon as it's not horror, just jump scares endlessly, because that's the really cheap way, isn't it, to frighten somebody with a VR headset on?
Oh yeah, it's but at the same time, jump scare mechanic generators are like the arse of the horror genre now. But as soon as VR horror is strong, jump scare mechanic generators will be the controlling influence in horror. Because you build up atmosphere in a horror game to generate proper fear, right? And you do that through sound design and stuff like that without actually delivering a scare. But if you're doing it in VR, all you really want is jump scares, because you're in the world. The immersion is done. You don't have to build up immersion. You're in it. So it's just going to be jump scare generators in horror. That's what VR will become. But that's okay. I mean, that is the world that we're heading towards. In terms of VR. There's so many horror games I'll go back to if they go VR. Well, this is the thing, right? Like Alien Isolation, you can play that in VR.
Alien Isolation isn't really a horror game, though. It's not.
Alien Isolation?
It's not really scary.
I mean, it's definitely a horror game, though.
It's not scary, though. Horror games should be frightening, right?
I mean, yeah, but, a lot of the horror games out there aren't frightening. But
I feel like it's a whole different discussion. Like that's an entirely different discussion. Somebody is still trying to steal my parcels. What a dick. Okay.
That will happen.
All right.
Okay, what have you been playing at the moment then?
Oh, you want me to go next?
I can go next if you prefer.
Right, it's already happened. Adam's taken charge.
I'm the host of the show, right? You guys are my guests.
New host. It's not like I had yours queued up next or anything. All right. So
no, let's do mine. I'll do mine.
No, it's fine. I fucking started.
I'll go right now.
The video.
If you can't be fucked to swap the YouTube video, I'll do my own. Okay. You guys should go and play LA Noire. LA Noire recently was released on Xbox and on PlayStation 4. Important, crucial things happened. I know that yours is on the screen, and I'm really happy with that. Okay, do you want to do yours now?
Which?
Okay, mine's on the screen now, Pip. If you want to talk about your one, that's cool. I'm not going to talk about mine the entire time. No, LA Noire got released on the latest generation consoles. It's been updated. The game itself is the best film noir game that exists, without question. And the updated version of it showcases what they never could really showcase on the 360 and the PS3, which is the unbelievable level of mocap that goes into it. The extent that you can go through the game, and we've all done this, and just pick out your favourite actors. Because they're all in the fucking game. Like, I go through that game picking out people who were in Angel for a laugh. Because there's about 6 in that game. And this is true of, most of the characters in that game. Keith Sabashka, who you particularly like, I'm assuming, because he's in Grim Fandango. But he's a very famous voice actor. He's in every game. He's also in Batman as the one with the Joker. He's the police officer that hangs around the place that isn't Gordon, right? But he is your buddy in this, and you can tell that immediately on looking at him. Like the mocap is ridiculously good in this game, and since about 60% of the game is interviews and trying to spot facial tics and stuff, it's only improved by being on the much more powerful system. The game itself is a great storyline. It's well worth playing, and if you've never played it and you own those consoles, this is the way to play it. If you play it obviously already, then you know. But if you've never played it before, get it on PS4, get it on Xbox One, get it on PS4. Don't get it on Xbox One. Even if you own an Xbox One, go out and buy a PS4 and buy it. Watch as it falls through the floor. What is actually happening in this video?
This is literally just a glitch compilation.
Okay.
But why not?
But no, yeah, it's the game that has recently been released on those systems. That is one of the updated versions that they're obviously doing tons of. That is absolutely worth checking out and worth your time.
And because that was one of the things I found when I played for, like, I absolutely love it anymore. The one thing I found was like sometimes the fidelity was not quite good enough for you to catch those facial tics and little like hints of a smile or a frown or something. So like I would imagine that's improved.
It's definitely, and also the world looks better. I mean, because LA Noire is very faithfully based on the map of LA from the time period to an extent that people who are aware of the map don't need the map.
Yeah.
So if you know where to go to get to La Brea Tar Pits from downtown, if you know the path to take, you absolutely can just follow the road and you'll get there, because it's super religiously, faithfully based on that map. And it's only the things that didn't exist in LA at all. You know, there's a few like locations that didn't actually exist. They put in there. Most of the locations are absolutely faithful reproductions of the game and of the actual town. Sorry. So definitely worth checking out. It's well far and away the best of the detective-y, story-based kind of games that there are. You know, things like Murdered Soul Suspect and stuff like that. If you like that game, well, this is like that, but not shit.
What's this thing? I've never played it. I think I own it.
I didn't mind it.
I've never played it. All I know, I remember trying to play through the first bit and picking up everything and turning it over and then putting it back down again. And I just didn't get any further than that. And I'm not entirely sure why. But, yeah. The
problem with it is that the game both rewards and punishes you in the environment by having shit that you can pick up that's irrelevant. So you can either take away all that shit and just have one gun laying on the floor and be like, this is the thing I'm going to look at, which takes away the looking around the crime scene aspect completely. But if you don't do that, you have to leave like boxes of like washing powder out on the side in a kitchen, and you're like, is this involved? Of course it's not. It's washing powder in a kitchen. That's where that lives. You know, why would this be involved? Is it splattered with blood? No, then don't pick it up. It's not relevant. But you know,
I would say as well, like the tutorial missions for this are a little slow, and I can see why some people have dropped off with it. Because it is very hand-holdy tutorially. Hey, poke this guy in the face to see what happens, kind of stuff. But once you get past them, the story's fantastic.
Well, the thing for me is that I'm a huge, the Black Dahlia is in this. And that's so fascinating. That's another one like Jack the Ripper, where they haven't got a actual guilty party that they're aware of. So they're free to make up their own story and do whatever they like. And I love that section, and it's actually the second section out of 4, and I'm still trying to work out why it wasn't the last section rather than like the middle of the game. But there's so much to do. It's a long game. It's a good 30 or 40 hours if you do all the stuff. And there's loads of like, because it's Rockstar, there's loads of just wandering around and pissing about the place if you want. You can go and collect up all the cars and go and do street crime and stuff like that. You don't need to do the story. You can get lost in LA having a prat around.
So after knowing what I was doing, like I replayed through it, just doing the main missions, and it took me 24 hours. No, sorry, not 24 hours. Like about 20.
Yeah, that's a decent playtime for just ploughing through. And if you don't know what you're doing, you'll get distracted all the damn time because there's all sorts of like shoplifting and rubbish you're supposed to do as well, which is utterly irrelevant to the main crime. And in fact, as a police officer, you probably wouldn't bother if you're not a beat cop. You wouldn't be like chasing shoplifters down the street, but you totally can in this for a laugh. Plus, the clothes are really awesome, and the lead character was in Mad Men, so there's reasons.
Neat. Okay, I'll have to have a look and see if I do own it, and if I don't, I'll have to. I want it on the Switch now. I want everything on the Switch. It's such a wonderful console.
I think it is on the Switch actually.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just finding the money to.
The arse out of everyone, isn't it, with their third-party proprietary action that they're getting going on here.
It's just such a good console. It's definitely.
I play LA Noire in bed. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, talking about Switch. My game was released on the Switch very recently. This is Battle Chef Brigades. And I was convinced I was going to hate this and it was going to be awful.
The one that's got Elspeth in it?
Yes, yes. I think Elspeth is a couple of people in it. Because sometimes you walk around, you listen, you're like, that sounds...
I know this.
Yeah. But no, yeah, this is the one with Elspeth in it. And she does an absolutely wonderful job. This is a story of a girl called Mina who works in her family's restaurant and runs away to go compete in a chef tournament. So
they made the plot up of this game by just like writing down random sentences and then just sticking them together onto a page, yeah?
Yes. So the idea is you go into these tournaments, you can do various puzzles. There's a scientist in town who creates new ingredients and things like that. He runs a cat cafe, and you can go and solve puzzles for him to help him with his lab work. You can go and take on combat trials and things like that. But the main bulk of it is that you're in a PvP match. The first part of it is all combat based. So it's like Dust and Elysian Tales sort of combat, where you swish around.
It's pretty amazing.
It's gorgeous. It's all hand drawn from start to finish. It's absolutely beautiful, beautiful game. And it sounds wonderful too. But it's you fight all these fantasy monsters to get them to drop ingredients for you. You bring them back to your cooking station, and you cook them in a match 3 kind of style game. So
like Iron Chef.
Yeah.
Or if you're English, Ready Steady Cook.
Yeah. And so each judge will say, hey, I really like this kind of food, and I want you to incorporate this kind of element. You go out, you collect the right ingredients, you bring them back, you run out, you collect the ingredients, you run back, you start to cook it up, you run out, you grab ingredients, you set back. You suddenly realise that you've only got 60 seconds left, and the guy across from you is already plating up. You plate up and you rush it over to the judge, who then decides who wins. It's super difficult, it's super frantic. There's a lot of love been put into all these fantasy monsters. There's a lot of love been put into the dishes. Even the dishes are so beautifully drawn once you plate them up, which is kind of an odd thing, I guess, to pick up on. But if you look at kind of Final Fantasy 15 had these gorgeous dishes that looked real. This is in a similar fashion. You plate up these dishes and it's like a moment the second that it starts to take shape, you know?
Yeah. That's all I think fucking delicious in 15, like amazing. I would eat it off my screen.
Well, this is kind of similar, only with fantasy ingredients. So sometimes there are tentacles, and you're like, maybe? I think so.
Hang on a minute. What? Haven't been listening? Carry on.
But no, I was absolutely concerned that I was going to hate this. But I could buy it for like £7, and I needed something to play in the hospital while they were cutting into my leg. So it was like, well, then I'll give it a go and see. And if I hate it, the anger will fuel me through the operation. And if I love it, the love will fuel me through the operation. And it'll be great. And genuinely, I love it. It's difficult. It's frantic. The puzzles are actually pretty difficult, considering they're match 3 puzzles. There's a lot of love gone into this from the art and the sound, and from the way that the mechanics work on a base kind of level. And I really like it. I really like it. If you were into Dust and Elysian Tale, if you like, even down to kind of visual novels, if you like these kind of whimsical visual novels, this is great. this is genuinely great. All the puzzle combat and stuff, you kind of can go around if it gets too difficult, and you can just do the cooking stuff. There's a lot of content for you to do just however you want to progress the story, and it's good fun. It's good fun, and it has Orc Boyfriend in it, and that makes me super happy.
Well, now I'm sold. I wasn't before, but now.
Awfully pretty. And I love that hand-drawn
Yes.
graphical style anyway, so I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the cooking parts, obviously, honestly, are the parts that are least interesting to me about what we've seen so far. But the platforming, fighting stuff looks great.
Yes. I mean, that's it. They're half and half trials. You don't tend to do more of one than the other, but the going out and fighting and having to find... Because each time you go out in a new area, you have to work out what each creature is, whether it's going to give you the right ingredients, whether you drop ingredients or pick up ingredients depending on what you fought, whether what you fought has given you the right ingredient to kind of carry on. It kind of has that Monster Hunter-y kind of part to it as well. And it's really good. I really, really like this. And I've been taking this to bed and endlessly screaming at poor Elspeth when she gets things wrong. So,
Speaking of Monster Hunting,
oh,
It's like being catted again. I
yeah.
don't know why this doesn't happen when I'm streaming normally, because in all of the time I'm streaming, the cat has never jumped up on me.
You're talking normally here. You're not going bound. You know that. See, look, gone immediately.
I mean, he can't hear you. You know I'm wearing headphones.
But I'm just saying, like that's clear. There's clearly something to it.
Maybe you're right.
You don't remember what the words are, Sam. God damn it. You only remember what the first word is.
But to be fair, I slightly harmed my throat. I slightly harmed my throat doing the initial part, so I thought I'd stop.
Yeah, that does sting after about 20 of those. Something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
It gets you down throat-wise.
Oh, my life. But yes, good games this week. Go buy all of these. Especially the last two on the Switch, if you have one, because the Switch is a great console. Please support it. I want more. I didn't
even think about how awesome LA Noire would be on the Switch, but
so you've got two games to get.
That is actually the console to get it on.
I might have to sell my soul to make sure I can afford it, because now I really want to do detective adventures in bed.
Well, this is the thing. It's like Phoenix Wright, but with an actual game. It's what LA Noire is. Right? I'm not saying Phoenix Wright doesn't have actual... Okay. What I mean is more of a game than click on door, talk to dude, okay, which is the Phoenix Wright visual novel style. Okay.
Point angrily.
Easy. I object! Okay. That's the best part of Phoenix Wright, right? That's the absolute best. That's the part that everybody likes.
I'm going to go back and clip that forever. Yeah.
That's the bit, right?
That's the bit that people enjoy. Forever.
I object, which isn't even the fucking thing he says. Objection!
There we go. That's the one. Go. And on the DS...
I've got to go around, haven't I? It'd be like this. Objection! That's right. There it is.
On the DS, you can shout that into the microphone to trigger him saying objection.
That's actually pretty good. But that, Phoenix Wright it's a point and click to all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But LA Noire is like that with like three, third person running around and shooting people.
Yeah,
good.
And instead you
sit
down.
I'm not good at.
You don't need to be good at it. Nobody's good at it in that game.
That's alright then.
And quite honestly, the game has failure states whereby they're just like, is this too hard for you? You can carry on.
Well, yeah, if you get it right, your commanding officer just basically goes, well, that was a bit shit, wasn't it? You're going to do the bad stuff now for a while, and then you just carry on with the game.
Well, that's only if you really fuck up a proper case. In terms of the actual case, if you're not good at and this is the thing I actually enjoyed, because I really have no love for driving games. And there's a lot of times where you have to trail someone in a car, and I'm super shit at driving in games. So there's failure states in anywhere where it's just like, you're shit at this. Do you want to just skip it and just carry on? And you're like, yeah, all right. I want to get on to the next bit of interviewing, and it lets you do that. So, hurrah for that.
Perfect for while I'm in bed and dropping the console on my face.
Well, quite.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
Oh, I have more games to buy. God damn it.
I've got a never-ending list. Jimmy's just got a Switch.
I know.
So
I did hear that Jimmy has the Switch now. So now you have to buy all the Switch games that I have so that we can play together.
So now I basically need to spend my entire year's wage on buying games for the fucking thing.
I mean, that's
Like,
it. Breath of the Wild, Game of the Year.
Well, we already
Or
have
you
them.
could buy a good one like Odyssey instead.
Or just buy
Yeah,
LA Noir, which is better than both by a long way. That's right. I said it, and I'm not taking it back.
Alright,
LA
before
Noir
we
is
have
better
a
than
disagreement. Before we have
Objection.
another disagreement again.
Objection! Okay. I love the fact that my camera is up here, so it actually does make my hand
Yeah,
look much bigger. Like Phoenix Wright in the...
it's almost perfect.
Yeah. If only I was a weeby anime blue jet suit wearing lawyer, we'd be there.
You're quite okay there.
Yeah, I'm fine. Alright.
Good.
We apparently have one last thing to talk about. Do you run a Patreon, don't you, Adam?
Sure do.
How are you feeling about Patreon recently? Because they've just announced that.
I feel great about it.
What is it that we're now? Customers are now paying fees on everything that you do ever. They don't get paid. They don't pay all their fees together. They pay them separately for each creator. They pay them as a standard fee up until a certain point, and then a percentage after that. And basically, you can't cover them. So anything under a $20 pledge is now kind of shit and doesn't help creators in any way, shape, or form. We've seen on Twitter people losing. One guy here was hemorrhaging Patreons just because they couldn't afford to keep up a $1 pledge, a $2 pledge, a $5 pledge because of the fees that are coming in. We're seeing sites like
you pay on like a $1 pledge or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Problem with that is if you have dozens of them.
yes.
Like,
And a lot of people do. They drop $1 here and there, right?
Really, like, I mean, it's obviously it's not good by any means. But if you've got 2 or 3 $25 pledges, for example, then you're paying an extra like $2 or something, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the same amount of, $75, let's say, $1 pledges, you're paying an extra like $15, $20. Because it's like an extra, 0.3 times 75. The idea, as far as I can tell, was to, generate more revenue for the actual content creator. But obviously it's having the reverse effect.
There's been a statement out since then to say that actually one of their goals is to drop 80% of their creator base because they consider them to be deadwood who don't bring in enough. So by increasing fees, by bringing fees in the way that they're bringing them in, so you now pay them kind of independently per creator rather than all together, they're cutting out a whole whacking 80% of the user base they assume by bringing these fees in. Yeah, we're seeing people like Coffee, who I quite like. I quite like that as a thing that people can buy you a coffee, however much money that is, and what have you. I kind of like that as a system. They're stepping forward and saying, hey, like we're looking into ways to kind of open up our options to you. But even with that, you can post stuff to Coffee anyway. It's a similar-ish platform, just based off of one-off donations as opposed to recurring payments.
If anything, the confusing thing about it is it's come so hard on the heels of, like, just for example, if you want to talk about platform competition, right? Twitch only relatively recently included the $25 subs, which was a direct attack on Patreon anyway.
Yep.
Trying to, leaven that revenue over to Twitch, which is fine. This is a capitalist enterprise. This exists, okay? It's just a surprise that Patreon went with this so soon after a direct attack from another company, already trying to poach the revenue, because it makes that more attractive to the viewer base rather than less attractive. Which is a strange way of doing it. you know.
So do you want the maths and the rhyme and reason behind it?
Yes, because we were given this, weren't we? We sorted this out.
Someone did some great sort of investigative digging around and whatever else, all public.
It was Kemp. Thank you so much, Kemp. You are a wonderful human being. Thank you for doing maths so that my poor tired brain doesn't have to. You are most definitely a hero. Thank you so much, because I looked at this initially and I looked at their graphs and went, ah.
So effectively, Patreon did a round of fundraising recently for like seed funding and capital and blah 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 blah. They raised something like $110 million towards their towards their platform to be able to invest and grow and all that sort of jazz, right? Now the problem with that is that last year they earned about $8 million. So they are not earning anywhere near the amount of funding that they've just received, and the particular type of funding that they received is typically you would expect it to be like 2 to 3 times the company's value, because of the level of shares and whatever else that are actually given into the company and the influence that those investors have over the company's running. Whereas in this case, it was something like 56 times as much investment or something mad like that. Now, because of that, there's just huge pressure on them to make money now. Like way more than it would be in any other set of circumstances, and this is the only way that they can do so. They don't make anywhere near as much money as they should do out of their system, and the only resolution that they can provide to their new set of investors is to double dip, which is effectively what they're doing. They take the processing fees from the creator side.
It's a creator who supports another creator is where it becomes very shady. Because don't get me wrong, it's not fun if you. I don't think there are huge numbers of people that have got like $1 Patreon multiplied by 75. That was just a grabbed example, but an awful lot of people do support each other.
Yeah.
So X Patrons to Y and Y Patrons back to X, right? Much the same as like sub sharing tends to happen on Twitch, right? And the double dipping is the thing that should be the worst thing about this, although it's actually the thing that's getting mentioned the least. Because somebody Patreons to you and they get charged, and you Patreon to them. But because of the way that Patreon has always worked in the past, they just detract from your Patreon total and then give it back to the person that you Patreon, rather than giving you $1,000 if you get that, and then taking $5. They just take $5 straight from that 1,000 that you've made, rather than taking it from your bank account or what have you. And that means both you and them get charged. And the worst part, of course, is that the second charge, so let's say the second charge for sake of argument, X Patrons to Y for $5, they get charged at the outset for that. Y then Patrons to X, and that money gets taken from Y's amount. That money should, in theory, have already been charged upon.
Yep.
Because it's been taken out of X's where they paid the fee, and then it goes back to X to all intents and purposes, and again gets charged.
And there's also the argument of you get charged to take a payment. So if I've got $101 Patreon pledges, I get charged in a month, once per month by Patreon. I get charged $100, and then those $1 go off and off and off and off and off to all those individual people. Now I will get charged for each $1 payment, but still I will only receive one charge on my credit card or whatever for $100. But I will get charged for each individual dollar that I send, so I'll end up paying something like $170 or whatever, something mental like that, which is marvelous. And then the other part that really got my fucking back up was, I'm sure you probably received the same email, which was ahead of this going into public domain knowledge. They emailed creators on Patreon and basically went, "We are doing this wonderful thing to help support creators. It's going to make your life so good. Oh, it's going to be like the angels come out from behind the clouds and start to sing, give you a little massage. and we're striping everyone up with loads of costs and basically double dipping from both sides, and we don't really want to mention this part, but this is the thing that actually is. And they tried to paint it up as being this wonderful positive change when it wasn't, and it was just the most utterly tone-deaf communication that I've possibly ever received. It just had no read on actual.
The issue with that was, and certainly the impression I got from reading the email as well, was there was simply no way to tart up this information. If somebody actually read the email, there was simply no way to PR it in any way that would make it sound good. I felt like that was why it fell so flat, was because you were reading it kind of going, am I just an idiot, or is this nonsense?
Yeah.
Like, have I just read the worst work of fiction I've heard in a little while? Because the thing you're telling me is a thing that should be delivered with an apology. Almost.
And of course, they didn't send that to you 6 months ago.
We got it about 4 hours before it went into effect.
Yeah. So that you could say to people, hey, these fees are coming in, right? I really, really appreciate your support. If you guys can't support, I understand. These are let's plan out how to not get $200, $300, $400, whatever it is, off my wages for this month. Let's work out how we go about doing that, how we go about you guys supporting me if you can't continue to do so when this comes in, because this is how I live. But instead, what they've done is they've gone, hey, you have 3 days to get a backup plan together because nobody is going to be dealing with this shit.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what they do as a fallout from this at this point, because there is obviously dramatic fallout, and it's gonna come down to what they decide to do about it. Because if they come back and they have a solution in some way to the general outcry, then we'll see how it goes down. If they don't come back with any sort of solution, then they're hoping desperately that it's going to kind of be a flash in the pan piece of information that is then going to go away.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see what goes down about that. But I just find it interesting that they've chosen now to do it.
Yeah.
And in this way, based upon the sudden upswing of people trying to take from them anyway.
Yes, because don't forget Kickstarter have just booted out Drip, and Drip is currently in beta testing with further beta testing at the beginning of next year.
There are other means of supporting, and then Game Wisp has been around for a while now, and there are other places you can do this.
Again, Coffee is stepped forward, and they're perfectly happy to say, hey, if you have suggestions on how we make our platform support you better, let us know, please, because we'll sort that shit out. And again, I really like Coffee. I really like the idea of having some loose change and being like, hey, here's $3. Here's £3. Off you go. I appreciate you. Here's £3. And I kind of, yeah.
But PayPal could literally just turn around tomorrow and go, there you go. There's a better product.
PayPal turn around tomorrow and set up some sort of service that for Patreon, this danger, that is basically a direct debit.
You can do that anyway with PayPal.
Oh no, that was already something you could do.
But if they put forward a product like Patreon that.
The whole point of Patreon, because you could always donate to X, right? There was always the capacity to do this. It was never like it was, how will I ever give my money to someone? It was always possible. The thing about Patreon that was always the thing was the ease of it, was that you set up a thing and then it just runs, and it churns over and then it goes, and you give rewards or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. It gave you a scope to have a good platform to put out rewards, right?
Yeah. And that's all it was. It was a built platform to do exactly that. And if all it needs now is for somebody massive like PayPal to put in place the architecture to do that. If they can
all PayPal need to do is make a UI for an existing system, though. They've already got recurring payments.
PayPal could get one dude to knock it up in about 3 hours. It's not like it would have to be any sort of rocket science.
Right.
But what I mean is, PayPal itself already has the ability for you to just pop on a recurring payment to someone.
That's existed for yonkers,
So they've already got the subscription part of the site made. and the paying in and paying out and whatever else. That's
We
a
just need
piece.
to front now.
Knock together the front thing,
Yeah.
and they're done.
Yeah.
They literally need to slap a fucking WordPress plugin for you to be able to post up fucking content.
Yeah, because all it
and
really
they're done.
that's all it is. We do all the rest of it ourselves. It's not like there's any additional stuff there. You know, it's not even that. You know, so yeah, definitely gonna have to see how that plays out now, because I think they were hoping there wouldn't be any outcry.
There has been.
But they were definitely hoping that, I think, based upon the fact that they put this through, and they were hoping that it would just sort of under the radar swoop through.
Yeah.
But Patreon have just been out of touch with their community for a very long time. Do you remember a while back we started getting these emails of, we understand you've opted out of marketing emails from us, but we thought you'd find this fun anyway. Here's some absolute shite that you've got no interest in whatsoever. And they did that for about 3 or 4 months, just sending these periodic updates that were of no interest to any kind.
Yeah, but not only that, but not so long ago, they put out a PSA being like, hey, you can't sell a certain kind of age-rated content on Patreon. And people went, but this is the only safe place to do it, because otherwise we get reported and all of our money taken off us, because that's how that works. Even Google Wallet now has said, yeah, you can't take donations for that. I'm really sorry, you can't take tips for that. And then Patreon kind of backpedaled and went, actually, we just meant like incest and things.
Yeah, it's a curious move for a company that was, they only make $8 million short, and as you say, the investment thrust was such. So we know why, but it is a very peculiar move in a marketplace that's becoming like nothing's cut and dried, right? It's not like diversified steel, which was the marketplace was carved up years and years and years ago, and you buy steel from X, you buy there's only so many places you can buy it. It's these number of people, and they have this number of territories that are feeding them, and it's all pretty much cut and dried across the world. There isn't really a way to punch into the steel industry, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Because the platform that exists is very new still comparatively. There's all this revenue space that you can totally smash into, which is why Twitch is quite happy to put in place a $25 sub. Why wouldn't they? It exists. You can do it, and they just put it as part of the site. Twitch has been engaged for the last 12 months with doing things that other sites do, right? Bits is just chatterbait.
Yep.
But,
those are our tokens. That's fine.
Down. It's the same thing. It's the same concept, and that's what they've been doing. And it's fine. It's a space that is fluid at the moment, which is why it's a real surprise to see such a colossal misstep in terms of PR from Patreon, because there is an awful lot of opportunity to lose your platform.
But they have no alternate revenue stream. They just do pledging. They don't do like Kickstarter. They don't do Kickstarters to get stuff going. They don't do like Twitch, where they've got the ad rev and the bits rev and the sub rev, and they have this rev and that rev and whatever else. They literally just have pledges, and they've dicked over a large chunk of their user base that use the only thing that they do.
Well, we're definitely going to have to see how it plays out in the media. How it plays out in the media is going to be the key of this, because it's not ever going to come down to the actual financial edifice at all. It's going to be just how offended people get. And how many creators start pulling the platform.
That's the thing. It's just going to have to take the balls to, just pull the plug.
Creators don't want to pull their platform for obvious reasons, right? But at the same time, you're in two minds as to whether you should hold on to the platform at this point. And you're kind of like, well, it's my livelihood, so if I pull the platform, I might halve my fucking wages next month.
First thing, transferring someone over to a new service is a fucking pain.
Well, that's a nightmare as well, and you don't know how many people will want to transfer over and whether or not they will, or
do they trust this new service?
They want to go to this new service, but the fact of the matter is Patreon until now was very trusted as the conceptual third-party support edifice for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you write? Do you do content? Do you fucking, give out porn?
That's the thing, like seeing
it's all
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and all they do is they just set up a platform for you to do exactly that. And there isn't yet a comparative. There are a lot of other up and coming comparatives.
Yeah, but nothing at the same level.
No.
This is like the comparison would be, I suppose, something like if Twitch announced they were going to make subscriptions $7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can bet like my sub count cut by half because I'm the last little bits of change that people got in their pocket,
But this is the thing, right? It's like what you'd see probably is, I spend $80 on subs. Okay, so it's an extra $2 per sub.
So how many do you drop?
$25, I'll just have three $25 and pay $6 extra rather than $25, of which I will then pay fucking whatever $40 extra, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of like massive PR own goal.
Yep.
You're kind of like, are you sure this is what you wanted to do right now? Because Game Wisp are fucking ready and Drip are ready, and they are standing by to hoover up everyone that leaves your platform, and Twitch as well, because they'll take a piece of this as well. And everybody's ready to like, are you sure that's okay? Well, I'll happily get involved on that then,
Thanks.
Cheers for, gunning yourself in the foot, I guess.
But here's the thing though, right? If Patreon had turned around and said, Soz, we need to make more money to create a better platform. We're putting up the costs by this from this and this from this. Sorry, it's come to this, but we have to do it. I would have been all right. Yeah, fine, no worries, fair enough.
Okay, so
it's the lack of transparency that's the issue, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
as a thing, just as an FYI. So one of their top creators has been on the phone to the guy who, one of their CEOs, and where are we at? They still think the service fee changes are necessary. They don't think that they're going to go anywhere, but they understand why everybody is so angry.
Well, sure they understand why everyone's so angry, because it's not complicated.
They're discussing plans to mitigate the problems with Patreon and make the fee change worthwhile in the long run.
That's bollocks.
I mean, what can they do to Patreon?
I mean, the problem with that is, I suppose they mean more services in theory.
Right,
but what more services can you add to what is essentially a Word document?
Right.
With a ratified banking process locked into it?
Say it's literally WordPress. That's all it is. Ability to embed the odd video or an audio file, add a download link. That's it. That's all it is. And public, private. That's it.
And the other thing, of course, is that a lot of the things that you run through Patreon aren't being run by Patreon. So, like, maybe you have, in my case, you have like sound commands in the channel, which I run through the bot.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're the cosplay girls who do the lewder stuff on Patreon stuff, right? It's not porn. Basically, it's just them in a bra and pants most of the time in a variety of different positions. They do that. They do all the fucking work. They get the photos taken by the photographer. They send out the digital copies themselves, or the physical copies if that's what you paid for, or what have you. Mm-hmm. They're doing all of it. It's not going through Patreon in any way. So there isn't really any service being offered there that couldn't be offered elsewhere.
And they offer a bare bones solution as well. Like, there's not even a sort of, hey, I need my user's contact information, let me export that.
Oh no.
There's nothing like that.
It's a very simple admin tool that's basically being used, and it's sitting there, and the reason it's used is because it's trusted. Mm-hmm. That's simply it. That's the fullest example. And all you need is another trusted edifice, and we're looking at you here, PayPal. That's massive. Okay? Because PayPal is the danger point for Patreon here, right? Like, Twitch can't legitimately offer that service immediately, let's just say. They can offer it in time, Sure.
Yeah.
But they don't really want to. Otherwise, they would have done it by now, right? PayPal is the third-party, giant edifice that already does 80% of this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, PayPal cut out the middleman because most of it goes through PayPal anyway, right? Like Patreon pays into PayPal if you want.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to, but you can. And so they have the ability to cut out the middleman completely and do it through PayPal if they just, as you say, stuff in the Word document part and the admin part, and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the real danger for Patreon lies. It's not so much in the up-and-comers, because the up-and-comers issue is that people don't trust them.
Yeah, but a big company like that.
But someone like PayPal, which everyone uses, every business, everywhere, ever uses PayPal, because it's the only. It's not generic, but it's so close to being generic as to that it might as well be. The word PayPal isn't the word you use for paying online, but it nearly is. Like people do say, "I'll PayPal that to you," meaning I'll send it to you from my bank. It's so close to being the generic term for internet payments.
Well, I mean, it's internet payments are taking over as well. I mean, I know that.
Of course, everything is taking over. Shopping,
Yeah, but I mean, I needed to pay the blacksmith the other day, and I couldn't get any money out of a cash point. So I went, "Hey, if I send you 60 quid, if I PayPal you 60 quid, can you bring 60 quid down?" And that's how that worked, because we all use it, right? Like.
It's a point where it's more directly becoming a verb than a noun.
Yes.
Yeah. The difference really lies, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, do we think they're scrabbling to do it? I mean,
I don't think they give.
I mean, PayPal absolutely probably don't give two shits, because PayPal cannot be scratched one tiny iota by anyone, anywhere, ever. Right? They don't care one bit, and I doubt they give a shit about this. It's just the possibility. And the thing of it is, how I actually predict it will go is not a huge amount will change. I don't think PayPal give two fucks about this, because they already have a gigantic revenue stream that all they need to do is just sit back and laugh about occasionally, and then go and check the gold bowl, right? PayPal don't have no requirement on PayPal to create a Patreon edifice. The danger is if they did, right?
Yeah.
From Patreon's perspective, the reason Patreon think they can get away with this is because they have no direct competition that is the same size as them. Like there are other up and comers, but this is the Mixer Twitch issue, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Mixer exists, of course it does. There's 9 people on it.
Yeah.
If you want to watch, bless their hearts. If you want to watch computer games on the internet, you go to Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is no one else. Mixer exists, and there was other ones that have sprung up and died as well. And the reason is nobody goes there. Hitbox being the example I was thinking of, but nobody goes there, right? And this is the same issue with Patreon and these other smaller edifices, is that they are so small that they're untrusted in the same way that Mixer is untrusted as a content deliverer, in the way that Twitch is trusted, and so is YouTube. So I don't think Patreon are gonna fail because of this, because there isn't anybody prepared to take over in their stead who can take over in this.
I honestly think the Kickstarter solution could, because the Drip is Kickstarter are already trusted to handle stuff. They've had a few kind of spills.
They are, but the problem is that people don't know that Drip and Kickstarter are the same thing. I'm talking about the important point about this is market penetration, right?
So it's not PayPal's a no name and blah 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 blah.
It's not that the Drip can't do it. Of course they can, and it's not that Kickstarter isn't trusted, because they absolutely are. But the problem is that you don't think of them in the same sentence. Like someone telling you the Drip is Kickstarter before you know that. Whereas if everybody knew that Drip was Kickstarter, that would be the
really stupid thing that I feel is they went from being like kickstarter.com/drip to becoming d.rip as a separate. So I think they should have kept it on site.
Yeah,
it wasn't wise to
keep the trust
when you're small, but yes, that's the issue, is that there is no competition that exists as a competition, if you see what I mean. So if you're on Twitch, you've heard of Mixer. I've said the word mixer twice today, and every time the reaction's been the same. Oh yeah, they exist. Oh bless.
Yeah.
Right? But that's how it is, right? And so there is nobody, because PayPal would be the ones who could do it, obviously.
Yeah.
They have 90% of the architecture in place, and they already do about 50% of the work for Patreon anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't give a fuck, because PayPal, is the only name for internet banking that matters, internet money stuff that matters, transfer or whatever. And so it means nothing to them that the Patreon do this. It doesn't, 8 million, they crap that out in about half an hour of the first, of any given day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason for them to get involved. They don't give a monkeys. But yeah, it'll probably be that it'll take a hit for a little while and then it'll just reset itself and it'll become the norm in much the same way as when Zola switched as the payment thing on Twitch and Europe lost their temper because
VAT lol.
Yeah, it didn't affect America at all, but it hit Europe and everybody was annoyed about it. But time passed and Europeans came back to subbing, right?
Mm.
And this is the same thing I suspect that will happen with Patreon.
Yeah, sadly so.
The main bitch of it is that for the time, it's going to depend on entirely how they handle it in the media to make themselves look good or terrible. And so far, they're not doing well.
Well, yeah, which if their track record's anything to go by, as I say, with previous bits and pieces that they've had as well, they've just been completely tone deaf or just completely the wrong side of the fence when trying to present an opinion. I don't see it. Taryn at Patreon, who always emails me, why have you been hired? I don't understand. You couldn't present a cat, let alone a plan for the future. I mean, as you say, and I think you've probably nailed it, it looks like scrabbling. Because, as there was suddenly this massive pressure that wasn't on them yesterday to generate a revenue stream that's much larger than the one that they currently generate. And therefore, they have to do something, and this is what they chose to do. It looks reachy. Yeah. Which is the major issue. Right? And I would not have minded, like I said, if they were just up front and went, look, we need more money because we can't afford to continue on in this way. We want to be able to support you people. Your average pledge will go up by X%, or it will cost X amount more. And that would have been it. And that would have been fun.
Oh yeah.
And added the ability to absorb costs.
That would have been the issue, because most people, I mean, yes, aside from the people who are doing the $1 to 100 people concept, are definitely getting rinsed to cuntery, right?
Yeah.
These are the people that are like getting totally shafted to fuckery. Most people don't Patreon like that. Most people tend to Patreon to a much smaller number for a relatively larger amount. And they're getting hit far, far less. But there are absolutely the people that do the $1. And this is the thing, right? An awful lot of the, what I would describe as the lewd Patreon-y females, absolutely have majillions of $1 people.
Yep.
Who in turn sub to a bunch, Patreon to a bunch of different, of that kind of content. So they get their X number of lewd pictures or what have you. Not ever forgetting that porn is free and there's millions of tons of it on the internet. But you get my point, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly how they do. That's the model for that kind of streamer, that kind of Patreon. Because obviously at $100, you don't get the girl to come around to your house and have sex with you. Because like it's a steepling process on Patreon, right?
Yeah.
$1 you get this, at $5 you get this, $10 you get this, and obviously every time you go up, you also get all the stuff from below, right? It's like at $25 you get all this stuff plus everything else, right? But you don't at the upper echelons of that get anything much more than what you're already getting down here.
Yeah.
Right, because you just can't if that's your model. If you're modeling,
there's a hard limit onto what you can do without flying out and giving a hand.
You know, if your model is racy pictures of you in your underwear, which, you know, no fucking negative attaches to that. That's what you're doing. If that's what you do, though, if you're not giving racy pictures in underwear, you're not going to get any $1 Patreons, right?
Yeah.
At $1, you know. If you're not giving out the digital pictures at that level, and if you're giving out digital racy pictures at that level, what the hell are you doing at $100?
Well, at that point, you get like all the behind the scenes bits and pieces, and it's nice because you feel closer to them
absolutely,
and all that kind of thing.
100%. I know what. I do know what they're doing at that level, but my point is.
No, I just thought I'd check because you don't seem the type, so I just thought I'd make sure.
I don't do it myself, but there is.
Close friend that does, right?
It's like there's this very gradual upturn, which means though that kind of model is designed around the many $1 Patreons theory.
Yeah.
Right. If you're the kind of person who will $1 to one of those types of Patreon, you'll do it to a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you're happy to pay $1 to get, you know, 5, you know, racy underwear shots a month or whatever the hell it is, right?
I mean, I do it with writing. I've got 20, I think. I give out about $20 through Patreon to various writers. And it means I get microfiction either every week or a big piece of fiction every month and blah, 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 blah. And it gives me stuff to read. It's just the spare change that I have left over, and I can budget that out to have something nice.
It depends on whether your Patreon works with the theory of a large amount to a small number of people, or a small amount to a large number of people.
But I think the majority of people sit in that small amount to a large amount of people category.
I'm talking about if your content model.
Right.
Is
No,
like that.
Most of the ones that I know are geared towards.
They certainly are. They're definitely far more geared towards that than the other side, because obviously persuading 100 people to give you $25 is much harder than persuading 2,000 people to give you $1.
Yeah. Those tiered levels are only
that particular model is the thing. The $1 to many gets absolutely castrated by this theory, because you know, the theory that, as you say, 20 people at $1 you do, well, you're going to get hit to $5 off that.
Yeah, no, it's
as opposed to if you gave one person $20, where you get hit to like 40 cents or something, which you won't even fucking feel.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty much.
$5 for the same amount of money is a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, and it absolutely castrates that particular model. So
yeah, no, the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing is absolutely a mess, and it would be really nice, as you say, for PayPal to step in and say, hey, with all this loose change, go and support all these people. They already have PayPals. You already have a PayPal. Cool.
Here is PayPal pledge.
Yeah.
There you go. You can have the name for free.
The only reason they won't bother doing it is because why the fuck would they?
Right.
Yeah, well, who cares? Don't bother.
They what does it mean? What does it matter to them if X company decides to like suicide itself?
If they only make another mere 8 million per fucking year, well, they don't give a fuck. It's nothing.
That 8 million, they won't even fucking feel. That'll just be a number they write down in the giganto ledger. The stockholders gather around to laugh and masturbate over every week.
Probably less than their interest payment on the day.
But yeah, and also they'd have to cost effect it out anyway, because even though it would actually take no effort to run and it would take no effort to make, it would still be slightly more money than not doing anything at all.
Yeah, and unless it's, you know,
you're not going to make that much out of it.
No.
But no, it is sad. It is sad, and I hope they either put their hands up and go, "Lol, joke, we're taking all that back," soz.
Which it doesn't sound like they're doing so far.
I mean, they've already gone too far to be able to do that. The only thing they could really do now to re-establish the trust they had before would be something like transparency. Like they could probably get away. Don't get me wrong, they'd still take a massive hit. But they could probably get away with coming out and saying something like, "We're sorry. We know it really fucking sucks.
But
we didn't want to do it, but we had to, and here is the reason.
Yeah.
Sorry." You know, and everybody would be kind of like, well, at least they were being transparent about it, right?
Right. But as it
Which
stands,
is, you know, a bit like, I don't know, the latest like raft of Hollywood superstars that keep having sex non-consensually with people and think that that's okay.
I'm seeking treatment and reevaluating.
People care more. People give that person more of a buy, and more of a like benefit of the doubty kind of. Okay, you're a scum. The people who come out and say, "Yeah, I was a cunt. I was a cunt. I'm a cunt. I'm a cunt. I'm trying to go to non-cunt school to get." Right? People are like.
Can we?
Fair
how
play,
do we
mate.
enroll people in no cunt school? Because I feel like
most people are supposed to go to non-cunt school from the ages of 5 to 11 when your parents not be a cunt, right? But anybody who skipped non-cunt school from the ages of 5 to 11, they go to it by virtue of being sent to prison and beaten nearly to death by all the people that really hate sex offenders, and that's the adult version of non-cunt school.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you know, that's the people are more inclined to be forgiving than they are of somebody that's like, I didn't do this. 95 more women come forward. You absolutely fucking did, mate.
Absolutely did.
I didn't do this, and your career's over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Louis C.K., I suppose, is the best example of somebody who handled it, I suppose, rightish.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is such a way to handle this right, but he at least came out and was like, yeah, I was a scumbag. I am a terrible human being, and I look at me, I suck. Okay? Don't get me wrong, still tarnished him. He still lost X deals. All the movies got pulled. Connection with Netflix got terminated. He still got incinerated, but in a way that he can come back from.
Yes.
Right? Which, if you compare it to something like Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. Well, was Louis C.K. the one that said, "At least I only touched myself," as some kind of justification?
I mean, I possibly, because that is true.
I'm pretty sure he did, and like a small nugget of my twisted being wants to go, but like the rest of me's like, that's not really quite getting you past the bar.
Oh, I mean,
Like,
the sad
shut
thing
up
about it
before you make it
is,
worse.
what he and others of that type were engaged in was positioning themselves on the sliding scale of monster somewhere up here,
Yeah.
not down here. I don't want to be with the rapists, and you know,
I'm not Will Paris.
yeah,
Like,
I don't want to be down here with the guys going to, you know, for child abuse. I want to be up here with the masturbated in front of women because my power allowed me to get away with it. Yes, I'm a horrible person. I'm trying to be better. I want to be there,
Not.
rather than down here.
Yeah, rather than Savilleville.
Yeah, and that's the sliding scale of pervert that he's trying to land on, right? And that's the only way that, you know, Patreon would be able to like resurrect themselves dramatically from this, would be something like that. Yeah, we're shit. Here's why.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree, and I think we've already found out.
Do you know what? I feel like we should draw this to a close, and I really beg you not to pick that as a title. We just had a title entered into chat.
Really?
Which is 6 out of 10. I don't want to be down here with Rolf Harris.
I mean, I don't want to be down there with Rolf Harris. I mean, it has truth on its side.
I mean, yeah.
I think everybody could agree that none of us want to be down there with Rolf Harris. Rolf Harris, the famous children's entertainer who was outed as a paedophile some years ago. For anybody who's
He's out again now.
Yeah, well, he didn't get put in jail for very long. Apparently, that people are against like old people dying in prison or something. I don't know.
I'm fully in favour of old people in general. Well, all right then, Pip. Since you have
No, it's fine. You guys want to call the episode that, you go right the fuck out.
How about 6 out of 10 adverts suck? 6 out of 10. Why isn't Jeff Keighley dead yet? Because those are worse, aren't they?
Jeff Keighley's removed rib.
Jeff Keighley is a donut. Jeff Keighley is a donut. Perfect. There you go. That's your title.
She-Man donut.
Sounds like a gentle insult until you realise that what I mean is he bends over to suck himself off, thus making him.
Well, you're the one who gets the choice, Adam. It's not me.
Well, no. Hold up. You normally go first, Pip, and make a suggestion.
No, because that That was
Harry
taken off
and the
me by
donut. Go on,
chat.
go on.
No, that was taken
I'll be
off
here
me by
waiting.
chat. I'm not
Sorry,
going into
do I have the
this.
power here?
Yes.
Clarify.
Yes.
I have the power to
You
name an
do.
episode not on my own channel.
Yes.
After the discussion that we just had. Sick. Hit me with it, chat.
Alright,
I am
so
fucking ready.
what we do every week, for you guys who don't know, is we title the episode 6 out of 10 blank, based on the content.
Is my name gonna still be in the title?
Yep.
Oh,
No, it's usually the name of the episode. And the
Alright,
video.
so it won't be like 6 out of 10, episode 20 with Call of Cthulhu, the title.
No.
No,
my
it
name's
has to be episode whatever.
My head. If my name is somewhere in the title, then we'll probably be vetoing anything involving paedophiles out the gate.
So what we do every week.
Maybe I can make a change for this one. We'll include the name to deter you.
6 out of 10. Cunt, tentacles, cunt. I kind of like 6 out of 10 off to non-cunt school. But it's.
I'm not sure how nice YouTube will play with that in their algorithms, but it'll be fun
As
to
if-
find out.
I don't think we'll be able to title that on Twitch in the VODs.
No,
No,
this is very.
I tried to. What was I trying to say about you the other day? Oh, you were.
Actually, if you put non-hyphen cunt, you might well be able to get away with it, tragically.
So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
making a
24
clip
time
of
for
your
it.
stream the other day because you were making mechanical vagina noises.
Sure, of course, I remember.
I
Yeah, carry
clipped
on.
that, and I tried desperately to
Oh,
title
you
it
mean-
appropriately.
Because the dog had the mechanical vagina in its mouth. I remember the time well. My stream is the place to go for top brow humour.
So I clipped that, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me title it what it actually was. So I had to
Sure.
title it something along the lines of "Don't mind me." That's just my. And I was super upset.
Ellipsis.
Yep, that's the one.
Does Twitch allow
Patrons
you to
December in
things
revenue in
speak?
shillings and pence. Oh Christ.
But Adam, it's up to you. What would you like to dub
it's your
this
choice.
episode?
What would you like
my,
to call
so
this
my options
episode?
are, I don't
No,
want to be
you-
down with Roll Harris.
You go for it.
You
Whatever
can
you
pull
would
one
like
out
to
of your
name.
own mind if you wish.
Yes, absolutely.
Sitting in an ocean with concrete boots and a VR headset. So, cunt, tentacles, cunt. I mean, how is that not the title, right?
I mean, if that's what you want to go for,
Thanks for letting me come on the show, by the way, guys.
you're more than welcome anytime. Absolutely anytime. Right, remind these guys who you are and what you do, and tell us what you're doing this week. Go on.
Call of Cthulhu. Horror. Do you have a memory of 3 hours or less?
Good.
You didn't do the whens.
Yeah, when?
You didn't do the when part earlier in the show.
What when part?
When are you going to be
When
doing
do
the
you
fucking
stream?
things on your stream?
What time?
Yes.
Well, just, like, follow my name, and then you'll know.
You are, you
I stream at 10 o'clock
Even
p.m.
Pip's got a fucking schedule now.
I've got a schedule. It's on my channel. Go there and you'll find it. I stream at 10 o'clock PST, Monday to Saturday. Take Sundays off usually because I role play. I primarily stream horror games, dark fantasy, Lovecraftian things. The channel is heavily Lovecraftian themed, as the name heavily implies it would be.
Does it?
Just lucky chance.
This week, today after this actually, I'm going to go and finish the Grim Fandango finale because I played that and started it Thursday and I need to finish that off. And then I'll play something else. I don't know what, because that's only going to take me about an hour and a half because I know what the answers to all the puzzles are. And next week, we'll be playing some Darkest Dungeon. We might do Alan Wake. It's always horror, dark fantasy, things like that. Things of that nature.
Good.
It's well worth your time. You get to hear about any and all analogies of puppies carrying mechanical vaginas in their jaws, along with the associated sound effects. So, why wouldn't you come in?
I think that was the stream that you threatened to steam all of our genitalia as well. So that was good.
I
enjoyed
didn't
that.
threaten. No,
No,
let's be
no,
clear.
if you didn't
I
threaten, then you
said
promised.
I said that women wouldn't want a steampunk vagina because it blasts steam over their clitoris.
No, I remember it. Anyway, Anyway.
I was saying that women didn't want a dildo that fired like springs out of it whilst in use.
No, we didn't. Can we not?
This was a very important safety tip.
Can we not?
A health and safety PSA.
Please, can we not?
All right.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. Sam, what are you doing this week?
When do I ever know? I don't know. I'll be playing some shit at some point, possibly, maybe. I am the least scheduled person on the history of the Earth ever. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow.
What's the crack about her schedule then? What was that in aid of? If you have a less important and less impressive schedule.
Well, no, because I don't really do the streams. I just come on and talk bollocks on a podcast occasionally. I don't need a schedule. I'm the worst.
Helicopter cock. Yeah, you get that too on my channel.
Yeah, it's very true. So, what subscriber level is that? Is that the $9.99 or the $24.99?
I'm actually going to hit my Patreon badly because at $50 I give the link to the helicopter wang cam.
Mm-hmm.
Engage wang cam. Thank you, sweetie.
So there you go.
Oh my life.
But no, Pip, tell the people what you're at, because you two are actually grown-ups and like proper streamers. So like you actually do the stream parts, whereas I occasionally
time, if that's what you mean. I don't know if I'd grown up a proper streamer.
Yeah, well, I occasionally turn the camera on and shout, but it's quite rare. Other than that, not so much. Pip, what are you actually doing?
Alright, so we're back into I'm gonna do loads of Surimar content tomorrow, so that we can do raids, we can do dungeons and stuff, and we're gonna split cast that with some.
Is this tomorrow?
No. No, I stream Mondays to Fridays now. And then we do this over here on Saturday, and then Sunday is my holy shit, I need to get my act together with WoW, because otherwise I've got no content for the week. So we're going to be leveling our druid, we're going to be doing dungeons, we're going to be doing raids, we're going to be...
What's your druid's name?
Sunspoof.
Why though?
Because she's a cat. There's a very famous cat called Sunspoof.
There isn't a famous cat, is there? There's a cat.
Sunspoof is the most famous cat, but we don't have time to do this. We're going to be leveling my druid, who is called Sunspoof because she's a kitty druid. We're going to be doing some raids, some dungeons. We're going to be doing some level cap content. We're also potentially going to be doing some RTS stuff this week. And maybe
Hang on, what? No, don't nip past that. What RTS?
some RTS stuff. And
What game?
does it matter?
Yes!
Why are you banging the desk?
I like RTS. What game?
Well,
I'll watch WoW.
So I need to finish up a little bit of Warcraft 3, but there's also another RTS, another classic RTS that I have my eye on that I kind of want to start, but I don't
War.
want to talk about it yet. I need to sort it out.
There are already so many classic RTSs.
We're gonna do some classic RTSs on the stream, and it's gonna be good fun this week. It's gonna be more of me screaming the place down. We might even do some of the Hearthstone dungeon runs because apparently I enjoy being dicked over by digital pieces of cardboard. So yeah, good times. Monday to Friday, about 12:30 in the afternoon in British time, so that's 12:30 GMT. Up until like 4, 5, 6. Depending on how tired chat make me, because fuck you lot, you have too much energy. Stop that. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Adam, for joining us on the podcast this week. Super appreciated, as always.
Anything.
Yes.
I'm rocking me.
Many thank you. And as always, thank you to Sam for holding up the other end of the podcast, because I couldn't do it on my own. That would be far too scary. We won't be back.
I know, it'd be funny. We've run 3.5 fucking hours. I think you two would be fine. I think you might have coped between the two of you.
I don't know, man.
There's no podcast next week, but the week after that, we might have an end of year surprise for you, which would be really
nice.
nice.
That end of year surprise about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, exactly. We have.
I'm not sure you should be confident in your use of the word surprise there.
No. Because I've been photoshopping like mad. It's going to be really, really good fun.
Oh,
I've been photoshopping like mad.
Patreon content coming out.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great fun. It's gonna be really great fun, and I super appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I think we ought to head off for the night.
Well, I really need a wee, so we should probably finish. To be honest.
We probably should. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again in a fortnight's time. Have a really great night and end of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All the silly noises, yeah.